All right, we are live. Hold on. I'm going to try to switch the camera. It literally went out like 1 second ago. 1 sec. Let's see if we can get it going. Okay, there we go. Second camera went down. Got my own thing playing in the background. How's everybody doing? Good to see you all. Thanks for joining. Hold on 1 sec. Chat, that camera went down. Yeah, I don't know. Sorry, trying to get that second camera up. For some reason, it just went out. But yeah, we have a really interesting, uh, I would say, packed live stream today. We have a lot of articles to go through. A lot happened this week, or last week, I should say, in Jamaica, and a lot of announcements. The budget debate was, what day was that? Some day last week. I can't remember. Thursday, the same day we did the live stream. The budget debate happened. So a lot of interesting things happening there. A lot of great articles. I have to say that I'm excited to share with you all. And then, of course, today we are really speaking about farming in Jamaica, and we have like a really, really interesting guest, multifaceted, multi-talented individual, more than a farmer for sure. And I'm interested in having a conversation and sharing that insight with you all. And of course, every time we have a guest on, want some questions and insight live so we can give them some feedback in any way that we can, and that will also help us learn a lot. As per usual, please let me know where you're chiming in from. I'm here in the grill on the beach at our usual spot, and we've moved kind of inside the last few weeks, which is cool. This is a lot better. It's a lot less stressful than being on the deck, and you never know when the rain comes. And you all, or maybe have been there when the rain has just suddenly come on us, and we just have to grab all the gear and move inside. So I'm actually looking to buy a tent. Hopefully, if not next month, maybe sometime in May, can grab that tent, and then we won't have to worry as much about the weather, and we can be right outside on the deck, or maybe even on the beach, perhaps, if we can keep cool and keep the equipment cool. So happy to be here. Happy to be in the discussion today. And just a heads up of the agenda. So it's just about after 12 o'clock here in Jamaica, and we are going to go through the articles, bit of a recap from last week, and then at about 12:50 we'll take a quick break, and then we'll have our guests come on at 1 o'clock at the top of the hour. So there is our view right there. Pretty nice day out today. We got a nice little breeze coming in. It's warm, but because of the breeze, it is very, very comfortable, and it's nice, and it's perfect for a Sunday afternoon live stream, if I may say so myself. A lot of people out there just kind of enjoying the beach and enjoying the weather, of course. Had a good breakfast this morning, had a nice Jamaican breakfast here on the deck. One of my favorite things to look forward to, seriously, like every single morning, not to make anybody jealous, but it's just one of those things, like going to sleep early, waking up early, training, and then going through like an extremely hard training morning, and then having a Blue Mountain coffee to look forward to, and then sitting on the deck and looking out at the sea. And it's really nice. It's really nice. And I'm super, 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 super grateful for it. I'm very, very happy that I have the opportunity and ability to kind of make that my daily routine. It really is a nice thing to have. Yeah, sorry, Rachel. Didn't mean to make you jealous, but just letting you know what's going on down here. So, of course, please let me know where you're chiming in from. That's me right there. What city, what state, what country. Always like to hear where we are in the world. I definitely want to make today give it as much participation as possible with our guest coming on in about a little less than an hour. And so, as I go through it, especially the last article that I read, if I can time it right, then we can really get things going in terms of hopefully that'll spark some interest and also questions that you may have about farming in Jamaica. and we have quite an agenda, quite an agenda today. So let's get going. Let's hop into the comments real quick, and then we'll hop into the articles. Chris Hill, how you doing? Thanks for chiming in. Andrew Blake, good to see you. Happy Sunday, Rachel. Please say hello. Oh, we lost the camera again. Please say hello to your mom for me. Chad, Chad, Chad. Yeah, went out again. Yeah, yeah. That second camera might be overheating. It's out in the sun, but we're gonna figure it out. Don't you worry. MDL says hi, Throp and Throppers, chiming in from Washington D.C. area. Awesome. Chris is watching from Panama City, or originally from St. Bess. Welcome, Chris. Always nice to see you, man. Chad is here, part of the Throp Media team. Claudette Little says hello, Mr. Throp. Blessed Sunday to you, sir. Checking in from windy, chilly New York. Okay, hopefully it starts to warm up a little bit there. You know, we're technically at the end of March, right? Spring soon come. A Hicks watching from BK, repping Fiji fam all day, every day. A Hicks, where in BK? That's what MDL is trying to find out. Cold King Blue Army, mad jealous right now that sun and water is everything. Hello, everyone. It's nice. It's nice. We're going to get it up in a second. Let's see. There it is. Yeah, it's a nice day today. Karen Gray says hello to everyone from Maryland. Good to see you, Karen. Dolores Portlander in London checking in. Okay, nice. You guys have, I was going to get into this later. We have a Jamaican champ in the UFC. Well, he's a remaining champ. Big fight last night with Leon Edwards, who was born here in Jamaica and moved to London and has done all his training there. He had a title fight last night against Kamar Usman. Let's just put it that way. I'm getting the Kamar Umar mixed up. Um, so that was a big fight, and not last night, not yesterday afternoon, because it was in London at the O2. And now we continue to have two Jamaican champs. We have Leon Edwards, and we have Aljamain Sterling. And Aljamain Sterling comes from Jamaican parents, grew up in Uniondale on Long Island. He's a Long Island boy. Went to the same undergraduate as my brother. I believe they were in school at the same time, if I'm not mistaken. And he is a UFC champ, Jamaican descent. So, man, Jamaicans going abroad doing big things. That's a theme, a continuous theme that I think we have here on this channel that we continue to see in like all walks of life. So, super proud of that. So happy that Leon won. I think it's really big for Jamaica. I'm glad they did a write up in the newspaper about it. I think it's like a really big deal. And hopefully he comes back and they roll out the red carpet for him, because he definitely deserves it. Definitely deserves it. Hard fought fight. Really hard fought fight. Smiling Blessing Bill, hello from Atlanta. Nice, good to see you. Thomasoni in here. Okay, so we have the farmers coming in from St. Thomas as well, that we'll be speaking to a little bit later. Allison, hi, Thought, watching from Cape Cod, Massachusetts. Awesome. Jennifer is chiming in from Alberta, Canada. Excuse me. Hopeton is in Toronto. Awesome. Welcome. Kingston. Happy Sunday from Cali. Awesome. Michael Smith chiming in from Atlanta. Everton, what's going on? Happy Sunday to you. What's going on, Chris? Good to see you, man. Happy to have you on here. Gertrude, happy Sunday, everyone from Georgia, Plain, Westmoreland. Awesome. Representing Petrona, Florida in the house. Good to see you. Thanks for joining. Okay. All right. There's one way. Oh, man, I forget what I wanted to do first. It just made sense. What were we talking about? We were talking about fighting. Okay, let's just get into the first article. Oh, no. I remember what I wanted to do. So I guess to start, I just want to do a quick recap of the week. That's what it was. So we released a clip from ThropX 2022 yesterday, and it was the presentation from the Negril Green Island Planning Authority. Super, super, super informative. I would say it's very dense in a good way in respect to information about regulations, the environment, building code, etc. They did a phenomenal, phenomenal job. It was one of those when I put, I'll say this, when I put that on the agenda for ThropX 2022, it was probably the only presentation that I had that I was concerned about. I'm like, man, is this going to be boring? Are people going to be interested? And it turned into one of the most favorite presentations of ThropX 2022. And because they were just so on point and knowledgeable. And then we also got really good questions from both the audience that was there and the audience online about building regulations and then different complicated situations that are unique to certain people, but also not so unique. You know, a lot of people had similar situations that they heard about uh, with land, with family issues, and then squatting, and then the environmental aspect. And many of the discussions and questions and answers, I should say, really were unique to Negril because we have this very unique ecosystem. And so excellent, excellent discussion. If you're looking to get into real estate, you're looking to buy a piece of land, build a home, or maybe a business, a hotel, Airbnb, whatever it is. Excellent, excellent information. Again, they did a masterful, masterful job, and one of the most favorited presentations that we had from Dropbox. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody's aware of that we did on Saturday. And then I don't think I mentioned this at the last live stream, but if I did, I want to mention it again anyway. We sent out the white papers in our last email newsletter. So that was the white paper on the health, the cost of healthcare. So we did our own internal research on prescription medications, uh, the cost of different types of health services, general practitioners, ophthalmologists, dentists, what that costs, and we did our research on different practices throughout the island, mostly here in Negril and also in Kingston, and we didn't do any comparative pricing to the U.S., but obviously it's a lot more affordable. And so we have that in full detail in the white page, and then we did a white page on the affordability of housing and the mortgage and the cost of the mortgage and the cost of housing as a separate white paper that we sent out in the most recent newsletter, which we'll be doing monthly. So just want to make sure that everybody is aware of that. Lot of great information on both of those white papers. And if you haven't received it, let me know. And if you haven't received it, you're probably not on the email newsletter. So you can sign up at dropx.com and you can sign up for the newsletter there, and we can make sure we get you a copy, and you'll have access to it. Should be, if you didn't sign up, like once you put your email address in, it should be shot off to you right away. And let me know if that's not the case, but it should be the case. So very good pieces of information that we have there. Okay, let's get into the first article. So let's start with the budget debate that took place on Thursday. So let's bring that up 1 sec. And there's a lot to unpack there, but we're just going to focus on some key aspects of it. And if there is something that in the budget that you want me to focus on that I'm not focusing on today, let me know, and I'd be more than happy to speak about it. All right, so I guess the big one is, especially because we were talking about this from before, which is the minimum wage. So the minimum wage went up 44%, and initially we had made guesses internally what it would be because we heard it was going to be going up, and so we had collectively guessed that it would be 12,000 Jamaican dollars per week, but it actually went up to 13,000. So we were off a little bit. So let's go through the article quickly. It's not that long. And I'll throw it in the comment section so you can read along. And if not, you can just Listen to me read it. 44% hike in minimum wage. Holness announces increase in NIS pension. Prime Minister Andrew Holness on Thursday announced a 44% increase in the national minimum wage, triggering loud and sustained desk stomping among government legislators and shouts of "Radam," Jamaica slang used in this case to express delight. Holness, who was delivering his presentation in the 2023-24 budget debate in Parliament, said that from June 1st, 2023, the national minimum wage will increase from 9,000 per 40-hour work week to 13,000 per 40-hour work week. The increase, he said, is the largest in 20 years, setting off more shouts of approval on his side of the chamber. Since assuming office in 2016, minimum wage has increased from 6,000 to 13,000. So this administration has increased the minimum wage by 110% in 7 years, he declared to more applause, pointing out that cumulative inflation over the same time period was less than 50%, and even in U.S. dollars, it represents a 66% increase in the minimum wage, Holness boasted. The government has done more than any previous government to create prosperity for Jamaica and Jamaicans, and we are proud to share the gains with all Jamaicans. The government said recognizes that the contribution of minimum wage earners, such as household workers, artisans, laborers, store clerks, and security personnel, is vital to the success of manufacturers, hotel professionals, lawyers, doctors, and teachers in meeting the country's national productivity and service targets. As such, the administration is committed and prepared to take decisive action to set minimum wage earners on the right track towards a livable wage. He also announced an increase in the minimum wage for industrial security guards from $10,500 per week to $14,000, which will also take effect on June 1st, 2023. Holness explained that the difference of the $1,000 differential between the national minimum wage and the minimum wage of the security guards will be removed at the next increase. Noting that the security guard industry supports every other industry in Jamaica, the Prime Minister said the administration is deeply saddened by the fact that in recent times security guards have come under attack and too many have lost their lives on the front line. We've engaged employers in the security industry to improve the conditions of work for our security guards, ensuring that the necessary statutory payments are made so that they qualify for housing and national insurance pension, he said. Holness also told the Parliament that effective April 1st, 2023, the flat rate for the minimum weekly national insurance scheme pension that will be increased by 74%, moving from $1,700 to $3,000. The pensioner who currently receives $2,550 per week will now receive $3,500 per week, a 37% increase, and those at the top will receive 24% increase, moving from $3,000 to $4,200 per week, he said. Holness reminded the House that an actuarial review conducted in 2013 had shown that the sustainability of the NIS was threatened if immediate steps were not taken. In fact, the projections at the time were that cash flow would be negative by 2025 and the scheme would be bankrupt and are out of money by 2033. He said the government took decisive and deliberate steps to implement a raft of reform measures, the last of which was implemented in 2022, and based on the performance of the National Insurance Fund, the old age, widower, and invalidity pensions and all other benefits payable under the NIS will be increased effective April 1st, 2023. Those increases, he said, will be announced by the Minister of Labor and Social Security. So yeah, pretty. Hold on one sec. Switch cameras. Yeah. So pretty. I would say pretty remarkable stuff in terms of the sheer numbers when you look at the real numbers, and then also the percentage increase. I think it's obviously a good thing, and to me it's just like they're they heard the cries and they needed to do something, and they did do something. Whether it's enough or should have been more, that's up for debate. I saw like in the comments, like, of course, like, and it'll never be enough for people, and like for certain people, I should say. And I understand that. I understand people want it to be more, but it's a good thing. It didn't stay the same. We're not going another year and the minimum wage being 9,000. Like it's going up to 13,000, which I think is a good thing. Um, is there room for in improvement? For sure, for sure. I think there always is. Let me hop into the comments real quick, and then I want to get into the next article because I don't want to run out of time. Happy Sunday, Cherie. Hello, Dale. Thanks for chiming in. Chiming in from Virginia, Daily Observer. What's up? Good afternoon, Millicent. Afternoon, Cherie D. J.A. Homemade Cooking. Hello. Good to see you. Mr. Phil chiming in from Brooklyn. Oh, yeah, I did. Marie D says, so Jamaica doesn't do hourly wages, just weekly? Yeah, it's broken. It's weekly, but it's broken down into hourly. So it's 13,000, and you divide that by 40, and then you get the hourly rate. So same thing. Happy Sunday, Throp and Throp family from Ottawa. Hello, Donna. Faye Shepherd, afternoon from Darlaston. Okay, awesome. All right, let's see what the next one we should do is. So there are also some announcements of, well, I guess the big announcements with the road network. And let me know if you have any questions or comments about the minimum wage increase. But I think it speaks to and the other thing that I'll bring up too is the NHT loans. It went from 6.5 million to 7.5 million. So just keep that in mind. So we're going to make that adjustment in the white paper. So that white paper is going to be that we put out in the mortgages and NHT. In the NHT stuff is going to be adjusted in June, and so we'll wait till that happens. But it's going to be a paper that's always going to be up to date. So I thought that was also pretty significant. Essentially, going up $1 million more that you have to get from the NHT if you contributed at least 2 years. I believe that remains the same. Okay, let's move into the next thing that was announced, which is the highway and the road network. I just saw you chime in, Shayna. How you doing? Happy Sunday to you, Shayna. All right, so let's move into the road network news. And I always bring this up because this is kind of, again, playing into the logistics hub play, I would say. And when you look at like America and you look at like how interconnected America is and the investments that they made, I believe it was if I'm not mistaken, the 50s, maybe the 60s. Okay, camera 2 is up. Cool. In the 50s or 60s, about the the interstate plan. I mean, it's just humongous, and I think we take it for granted that there was a generation in America, that is, there was a generation that sacrificed their time and their labor to make that happen, in order for us to essentially enjoy the fruits of their labor. And it's just remarkable what they're able to do, or what that country America is able to do with having this very interconnected road system. And Jamaica is very much trying to do that and on the path to do that. So let's get into this one. I'll throw it in the comments real quick. So Treasure Beach hoteliers cautiously optimistic over highway plan. And this is in the Jamaica Observer, written by Casey Williams, staff reporter. It says Treasure Beach, St. Elizabeth, even as the government plans to extend the southern coastal highway project westwards to Hodges in St. Elizabeth, following the completion of the $188 million Maypen to Williamsfield leg of Highway 2000. Tourism interests here are cautiously optimistic about the development. Prime Minister Andrew Holness, speaking on Thursday in the 2023-2024 budget debate, said the administration plans to extend the highway projects to Hodges, close to the capital of Black River. The scope of the project includes the improvement of the existing road infrastructure as well as bypass from Mandeville and Spur Tree. A connection close to Junction Southfield heading to Black River, said Holness. The May Penta Williamsfield leg is scheduled for completion in August 2023. Right around the corner, the Jamaican Observer was told that the planning phase of the leg from Williamsfield to Hodges could take up to 2 years. Oh, the planning phase is 2 years. Wow. Okay. Got to be patient here, but still something to look forward to. Treasure Beach, located close to the most southerly tip of St. Elizabeth, farm-rich Pedro Plains, as well as Southfield and Junction, has evolved over the years from a sleepy fishing village to the classic exemplar of community tourism in modern Jamaica. Hoteliers and community activists Jason Hensel and David Fobe have welcomed Holness's plans for the South Coast Highway, but want community tourism to remain untouched in Treasure Beach. I am very protective of Treasure Beach, and I don't want Treasure Beach to become a commercial destination. We want it to always remain a model for community tourism and a niche market for agritourism. We don't want it to become an Ocherius and Negril kind of destination, said Hensel. What's he mean by that? What do you mean by that, Jason? I'm cautiously optimistic. My fear is coming so close to Treasure Beach with the highway potentially over commercialize the area. However, it is really a progress to know that the road network is going to be improved along the south coast side of Pensacola. Bob, an Englishman who owns and operates the Lashings Boutique Hotel and Villas in Treasure Beach, said the highway will benefit tourism and business on the south coast. I have two feelings. Obviously, that is progress. Obviously, it is fantastic news for all residents of this part of St. Elizabeth, economically, physically, that the road is going to be extended to as far as Junction Southfield is incredible news, said Bob. It is fantastic for tourism and for businesses on the south coast. My only slight sadness is that we got such a beautiful thing going on down here in Treasure Beach that maybe we wanted to keep it a secret, but I have never been one who would want to stand in the way of progress or economic growth. That news is just fantastic for the economy, the people on the south coast. For people who would want to travel, it opens up this part of Jamaica very well indeed, and overall, it will be very well received, added Bob. However, government minister of and member of parliament for St. Elizabeth Southwestern Floyd Green allied the concerns. He said that the highway project will bring added benefit with a reduced travel time to Kingston to Treasure Beach from Kingston and other points. The plan, as we have discussed, would not change the community tourism aspect of areas like Treasure Beach. In fact, it would be enhanced because the number one complaint for people who journey to Treasure Beach is about the road to get there, said Green. Based on the discussion we have had thus far and based on what the Prime Minister has announced, what we are looking at is a combination of things. Clearly an extension from Williamsfield that would have you bypass Spur Tree Hill, which I think we all would be very grateful for. And then a highway sort of modifies the existing route by giving you a better road surface, wider roads, and then bypassing main towns along the journey. Added Green. He said that the highway development will benefit towns in St. Elizabeth. You bypass Junction, Southfield, Black River again from another direction, and all of that would ease congestion and stimulate businesses in all of those areas because it would be easier to get to them, Green said. Wouldn't change the characteristics of an area like Treasure Beach. What it would do is be a positive gain because when you now look at what we would be the travel time from like Kingston down to somewhere like Treasure Beach, it would allow more people now to enjoy what we have, which is a clear community tourism product. That's pretty exciting for them. And I'll say, like Treasure Beach, if you have been to Treasure Beach, some people here in the chat are from Treasure Beach and are from St. Elizabeth, I should say. it really is a special place, and it is like I would say a bit of a hidden secret. I would agree with Bob. It's like super chill, laid back, super safe. Everybody knows everybody. Everybody is friendly. Like everybody's friendly here too. It's like all over Jamaica, but it's very community, neighborhood driven. Um, yeah, it's super small town. And I remember like we did my dad's 80th birthday at one of the villas, Turtleneck Villa, actually very nice villa, relatively affordable, might I say. And I remember the lady who was cooking, making the meal for my dad's birthday. She was like, go to this store, tell the, I forget her name, but tell the store clerk that I sent you, and she'll give you this. It was like some ingredients that she needed. And she's like, don't worry about it. She'll come and get the money later, sort of thing. And but that's the type of community that it is, like where everybody knows everybody. As soon as I mentioned the name, the lady never met me before in her life, but as soon as I mentioned the other lady's name, she gave me the goods that I needed, and I went about my business and went back to the villa. So that just kind of gives you an idea of the community that they have there. Really, really nice, super, super, super beautiful, and I really love getting out there as much as I can. I'm heading there next month, hopefully for the triathlon that they have there, the Treasure Beach, the Jake's Triathlon, or Treasure Beach Triathlon. I forget what they call it, but it's hosted by Jake's and at Jake's. So definitely looking forward to that. But bigger picture is the road network continues, and a few lives ago we talked about the bypass coming out of in Montego Bay, coming out of the airport. So from what I understand, to get to Negril, instead of making the right at the roundabout when you come out the airport, you're going to actually be making a left and going through the mountains and kind of coming out a little bit before Bogue. So you completely avoid like that downtown Montego Bay traffic, which is terrible if you catch, if you're coming in on a flight on the wrong day during rush hour. It's really, really, really rough. So that's like, this is all like in my mind, it's like this is bringing down time, this is increasing trade, this is increasing commerce, it's making ease of doing business that much better, that much easier. And when I hear this, I'm like, this is great, this is fantastic, fantastic news. And there is this other article, but I feel like we're going to run out of time. I'm going to save that for after. Well, maybe I should get into it. Yeah, let's do it. Let's go to the comments real quick, and then we'll hop into the last article before our guest gets on. Where was I? Bings Wilson says, hello, Throp. My first time on your platform. You are doing a great job. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Avon, new here. Welcome. Nice to have you. Thank you for being here. Seema says, Spur Tree Hill is so scary to me. I would be happy to bypass it. Yeah, that is pretty scary, especially when you got those big trucks going through as well. And I'd rather be behind them than in front of them, and trust me. Sean Campbell says, leadership and vision is what can help our nation progress. I agree. Marie D says, yes, sir, Throp, American interstate system did get built in the late 50s to 60s. Before that, it took days for them to travel throughout the U.S. Yeah. I mean, I just remember just even as a kid traveling from Negril to Kingston to see my grandmother. I hated that drive. It was like really, really terrible and bumpy, and I get car sick pretty easily. And I remember just not looking forward to the drive, but very much looking forward to spending time with my grandmother. And thinking in my mind, it's like definitely well worth it. But now, so much better, exponentially better experience. Avon says, I love the plan for Treasure Beach. Yeah, I think it's going to be really good. I think it's going to be a game changer. Like they said, it's going to take 2 years for the planning phase itself to go through, which is completely understandable. But once that is up and running, it's going to be a game changer for that town. Complete game changer. Just like I think that bypass in Montego Bay is going to be a game changer for Negril, because it's just gonna, that is probably gonna take. I would venture to guess around 20 minutes off the trip from the airport to Negril and vice versa. I would think at least 20 minutes. I would be curious to know what the experts are saying on that. Teresa chiming in from Orlando. Good to see you. Seema the Move says, I really liked Treasure Beach. I look forward to visiting again. Yeah, one of my favorite places to visit on the island. Marie D says, Treasure Beach sounds like Treasure Island over in Florida. I need to visit next time. Highly, highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. Cherie D says, ease of accessibility is a wonderful thing. It's just the small businesses and roadside fruits and food that who will be impacted. And we can see the north with the north-south highway and Faith's Pen. Yeah, I know that's a fear for Lucy as well, because they are looking to bypass Lucy. But it's also, I would say that, and encourage those folks is that hopefully they're aware well in advance, and so they can adjust what they're doing and how they do it, if that makes sense. Because we can't, in my mind, it's like, man, the country has to progress, and the interconnected road network is extremely important. Again, as I go back to the logistics hub that is coming on board, like, we need all of this to come together. These are, the way I look at it is like, these are all chess moves, all long-term chess moves. I don't know why the beach looks funny like that, but anyway. Ms. Cole, good to see you. Donna Bryce has been stuck in that Mobile traffic, would gladly bypass that. No, I hear you. I hear you. Avon says, wow, you're really pulling memories. I have experienced in a long time ago. Charlie in the car from St. Elizabeth to Kingston. Yep, all about that. All about that. All right, let's get into a short article here, because we only got about 10 minutes, because I do want to take a quick break. You know what? Let's get into this one. And that should segment us into our guests. And then we'll kind of get back to finance and stuff like that, which I do enjoy talking about. Okay, so as you all know, maybe know, we are having a guest from St. Thomas on the topic of farming in Jamaica. And as far as I know, they're not a castor oil farmer, but this article is about that. So Jamaican stakeholders urged to take advantage of castor oil market. So I won't put the article up. So we'll just leave the beach up and I'll just read it. Let's see. Across the world, you're looking at 75 million US to 100 million US worth of opportunity in this liquid gold. So we have a massive global opportunity. There is more than enough reason to move to develop the local castor industry, said Agriculture and Fisheries Minister Pernell Charles Jr. Minister of State in the Ministry of Transport and Mining, J.C. Hutchinson, said that there is an existing high demand for Jamaican black castor oil, and that a committee should be established to explore the potential of the product on the international market. This is a truly Jamaican product that must carry brand Jamaica in every way, and I suggest that a committee be established, he said, adding that the committee should comprise the Jamaica Bauxite Institute, Jamaica 4-H clubs, the Scientific Research Council, processors, farmers, Jamalco, Jamaica Baptist Union, and Inter-American Institute for Cooperation on Agriculture. A lot of acronyms there. He said the committee could be chaired by the Rural Agricultural Development Authority, RADA, another one. Hutchinson, speaking in the JBI's Castor Industry Forum, dubbed Black Castor Oil Liquid Gold Untapped, said in order to realize the potential of the market castor bean, local Jamaica needs to have a structured program which ensures that processes have consistency of supply. Excuse me. Despite having gained popularity worldwide, the product is not a major farm crop in the islands. And Hutchinson said, "This is too much of an important for it to be faltering by the wayside." He feels strongly about it. So let us work together to make it work. The Agriculture and Fisheries Ministry told the forum of the need for training, organization, and planning to maximize opportunities in the industry. Now more than ever, we push for grow smart, eat smart. We are saying to Jamaica it is essential to understand the sector and to utilize every inch of land, refine the process, utilize the research and development to maintain our standards. Currently, a study is being done on the Jamaica black castor bean at the Mona campus of University of the West Indies through a grant facilitated by the JBU and the International Inter-American Development Bank (IDB). Upon conclusion, the findings will guide the process of securing the intellectual property rights of the Jamaican black castor oil for the country. For many years, several companies globally have been producing their own oil, but falsely labeling it Jamaican. President of the Jamaican Castor Industry Association (JCIA), Courtney Houghton, said most of the products being marketed as Jamaican black castor oil are fake. The only way we can claw what is ours is if we secure our intellectual property rights. The process includes research now underway at the Mona Institute of Applied Science. He noted, our next objective is to protect market integrity because we will need strategic alliances with people who have the capacity to seek out those in violation of our rights and protect us through legal action. Yeah, I think that's. I knew it was pretty popular. I guess just maybe being Jamaican, it's kind of being just a regular thing. But I know for sure in Brooklyn and especially in East Flatbush, where a lot of Caribbean people are, that's very, very super popular. Marie D says maybe the government can build market at certain exits along the way so that those displaced sellers, okay, we're talking about the road, sorry, I'm switching that up, can go to sell their goods. Yeah, that's a good idea, Marie. This is talking about the bypass roads that are coming on board. I think, yeah, I agree. I don't think we should forget about them. And if something can be done to assist them before the roads are fully implemented, I think that would be a good idea. Mystical says castor oil has so many benefits, including hair growth. Marie D says, yes, Jamaican black castor oil is well sought after, especially here in the U.S. Mystical says, fibroids, blood clots, etc. Troy Marie says, happy Sunday, guys. I'm late to the party. Just got home from church. Okay, nice to have you. Welcome. MDL says, I paid $20 plus tax for 8 ounces of black castor oil here in the U.S. Interesting. What do people, I know Mystical gave us some insights, but what do people use castor oil for? Or maybe some people out there in the community can share what they use it for. I know hair, but I was going to ask a stupid question, but I'll see what everybody else says. I want to hold up my question. Maridi is asking MDL, the $20 that you paid for that 8-ounce bottle, was it from Jamaica? Sean Campbell says, we need to have a strategy to move people and goods across the country via rail and water. This will help the country move forward with technical and well-paying jobs and create stronger middle class. Good point. Good point. Yeah, I don't know. I think the rail is definitely a good idea. Like, I don't think anybody can argue with that, but it's the money. Like that is, it's the money. And the money. The logistics sound like a nightmare, but I think once you put your mind to it and you have the financial resources to execute on it, it'll be fine. You'll figure it out. But definitely the money is needed. Daily Observer, I wish we could get past the talking. Been hearing about castor oil for way too long. Let's just do it. Yeah, I feel the same with like this kind of falls into the category of Jamaican sea moss. And from what I understand, Jamaican sea moss of all the sea moss that exists in the world is like this is what they want. Like everybody wants the Jamaican sea moss. And I know when I had, man, I forget her name, but I had the young lady that came on that talked about her CMOS products and her process. And she was very protective of where she gets her CMOS from and how it's grown. And she talked about the process of how she gets it to its final form. But it's something that's very in very high demand. So even that, I think protecting the international intellectual property rights of that and what's ours and what is indigenous to Jamaica and unique to Jamaica, I think is super important. And we just got to make sure that we are we're on the not just the creative and technical side of things with the farming, but also on the business side of things and making sure we're protecting brand Jamaica in every way that we can. Team on the Move says has industrial and medical uses. Okay, do you ingest it? That was my question because I just know about it with air. Like, do you ingest it? Like, how is it consumed? Do you rub it on your skin? That sort of thing. That's my curiosity. Reedy says my father and grandfather used to work the railroads back in its heyday. Yeah, I wish we could get that back. I wish it could be just having trains go everywhere, right? I think that would be so amazing. Get a lot of these cars off the road. If it could be like just one of those things that just it's just a lot easier to do. Shin Love Coaching says it's good for alleviation of psoriasis, eczema, fade scars, acne, stretch marks, dry skin. Oh, I see. I didn't know that. Okay, very cool. The brand I'm currently using is Sunny Isle Jamaica Black Castor Oil, the pure butter version. Only company have it in butter form. Pretty cool. Have to look that up. I don't know. I only know about cocoa butter with that stuff, but how I know about castor oil. Let's see. Thank you, Jennifer. Kiona. I hope Kiona's not watching this. And it's like, how could you forget my name? Got a lot going on right now. Kiona, thank you. That's the name of the young lady that I had on who did the CMOS. And she said she sold a tremendous amount of CMOS after that video, which I'm very happy for her. And it just kind of also showed you how in demand Jamaican CMOS is just from that one video. Angela Forbes says castor oil is used mainly for hair and medical purposes. Marie D says, yes, Jamaican sea moss is the best. I get mine straight from Jamaica. Kevin Bauer says, has there been any formal invitation for folks in diaspora to join local farmers to form a co-op? This could be an avenue for new resources and help sustain an important industry. Dr. Barrett. Hey, maybe that's a question that our guest can answer in a few minutes. But me answering directly, no, I'm not sure. I'm not aware. Sherry D says castor oil has been used as oil for lambs, as a laxative, and even to induce labor. I'm not a doctor, so please, mamas out there, don't try it without your doctor. Mystical says the Jamaican castor oil sold in the U.S. is watered down. I believe it. India says my mother used to have sea moss every week with linseed. And Shane L. Coaching says is also a pain reliever. All this stuff I didn't know. I had no idea about this, but it's good to know. Okay, so I thought that was a good last article before we get into our guest who's coming on another 10 minutes. So what I want to do is do in a couple of seconds here, do a break. So we'll probably take about a 7-minute break. I'm going to play, let's see, I think we got 2 videos. Yeah, we're gonna be shooting some new live stream new live stream breaks soon. But this is what we got for now. And if you've seen them already, I'm sorry, or maybe hey, you get to see them again. And we'll be back in call it another 10 minutes. So if you guys want to take a break, get a glass of water, bathroom break, whatever you want, we will do that. And I'll be back in just about 10 minutes. And we got a video up here for you as soon as I can find it. All right, here we go. All right, see you in. All right, we're gonna go on a little swimmy swim. Think I might try to get to the reef over there. It's like maybe 400 meters out or so. Haven't done that in a while. Might give that a go. But it's gonna be a relaxed one today. These are mornings in the grow. Let's do it.
I'm waiting for something to change. 'Cause when I'm not here, it's like I'm falling. And I don't know why I feel pain. 'Cause when I'm not here, I keep on falling. Yeah, I've been waiting in silence to see a little bit of fire, but all I see is you. Yeah, I've been waiting in silence to see a little bit of fire, but all I see is you. I keep looking, I keep searching. I need you to be around.
There's a turtle, but it's so much faster than me. Couldn't catch him. I think he likes those little jellyfish things. I don't know what they are, but I don't like swimming in them. But I think the turtle likes to eat them. I think they're like little jellyfish thingies. I don't know. Not too far back, too far out. The reef is over here somewhere. We're close. Morning, Billy.
So I feel safe and sound. I keep looking, I keep searching. I need you to be around. So I feel safe and sound. I've been hiding out for days next to you. Until lies. Yeah, I've been waiting in silence to see a little bit of fire, but all I see is you. I keep looking.
Alright, that was fun. Back to the program. Hope you guys enjoyed that little break, that little swim break, if you will. Next up, we got some drone shots from a sunset, I think like 2 days ago or so. So a few more minutes, then we'll get back to the program here. Enjoy. We are doing a semi-quick walkthrough of Travelers. This is our welcome home sign. Whether you came here for the first time or you've been here many times, it's always welcome home. Here is the lobby. Then the front desk is over there. And if you play the piano, you can play the baby grand piano here. And we just put this lobby bar here, which we haven't began using, but it's kind of turned into a makeshift tour desk. And here is the meat office, Negro Education and Environment Trust. This is my family's nonprofit organization. And yes, we are also part of the Rotary Club, the Negro Rotary Club. Okay, moving on. So we're stepping into the garden area here. And here on the left is the bungalows. This is actually the first room category that my dad started with. Started with 3 of these and then slowly built it up to the property that it is today. So this actually used to be a jungle before my dad started this, and he started from scratch. So up here above the lobby, these are our suites and deluxe rooms. And then over here is the superior rooms. They're grafted mangoes and they're really, really good. And then over there is our standard block. And going down the bungalow path here, we're doing a little construction here. This is one of our bungalows. Give you guys a sneak peek. Hope this is dry. Okay, it is. All right, just a little quick sneak peek. Brought the ceilings up. Well, got AC. That's it. Not even gonna explain the concept, but just give you a quick look-see on what we're doing here. All right, I don't know if I was supposed to show you that or not, but that is that. Okay, moving on. Keep going towards the beach. I'm not sure if you can see that from here, but that's the direction that we're heading in. And then over on the right, morning. All right. And over on the right is the pool area. Let's see if we can walk across. All right. Sorry to cut that short, but we have our guests waiting. And sorry if you haven't seen that already, but that is Tour of Travelers. Maybe we'll play it again on Thursday, or maybe play it again a little later today. But those cottages have been completed, and they're very nice. I think I did a walkthrough of the new rooms that have been completed. So somewhere on here. Okay, we're back though. We are back. I believe we have our guests ready to go, and we don't want to keep them waiting too long. Let's do it. Okay. Hello, Nicola. Oh, I think we got you on mute there. Oh, just unmute yourself. Sorry.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay, great.
Hold on. I just want to make one adjustment on my side. Can you speak again?
Yes, can you hear me?
I think I got you. Hello? There we go. I can hear you now. Wonderful. How are you?
I'm well, actually.
Okay.
Beautiful
Awesome.
day here. We had some rain yesterday and early this morning, so we're very grateful for that. And it's a beautiful day in Jamaica.
Okay. Wonderful. Can everybody hear Nicola? Okay. It's a little echoey. That's the only thing I would say for me. But I can hear you, but it's just a little echoey. I just want to make sure everybody else can hear you. Okay. Mainly.
Maybe, maybe it's the structure that I'm in. Can you still hear me now if I speak up? Or is it still echoey?
Yep. I can hear you perfectly clear. I think we can. I think we're good to go. It seems like everybody not getting any negative feedback in the comments, so I think we're good to go. So, first and foremost, thank you so much for taking the time out on this Sunday afternoon to sit down and speak with us. I could tell you this is a topic that so many people in this community are interested in, and especially many of the channel subscribers are looking to move back to Jamaica, and one of the things that they want to do, even on just their own property, is to do farming and have farms of their own, and they want to learn about how that's possible. And some people want to do much larger farms, and that sort of thing. So having somebody on like you really is appreciative. And so with that to start, and I was saying this before you got on, yes, you are a farmer, but you do so much more than that, and you're multifaceted, multi-layered, multi-skilled individual. And if you would, can you just give us a brief introduction on yourself and what you do?
Okay, wow. Okay. The origin story that has to happen along with this. Okay, so again, my name is Nicola Phillips, and I'm one of the directors of the Source Farm, well, Foundation Eco Village Community Development. And so, Jamaican by birth, of course, went went to the U.S. when I think I was about 16, and on off before then, but pretty much went and lived and went to school there. And my background basically is culinary. So I went to Johnson Village in Rhode Island and had a catering company in Connecticut and ended up having a restaurant for 14 years in Philadelphia and did a lot of community development work, kind of using food as a strategy to bring people together.
Sorry, Nicola, just to interrupt you. Yeah, folks are having a bit of a hard time hearing you
I'm going
because
to
of.
in 5 minutes. I'm going to go off. I'm going to go off for a second.
Okay,
I'm going to
no
move to where
problem.
I am and see if that will help.
Okay, so
So,
don't worry. I take your time. This when I see you hop back on, I know that we're okay. I have other things that I can do. Okay, cool. All right, she will be back shortly. She's going to change positions to see if we can hear her a little bit better. I think it's very important that you hear what she has to say in her story. So we're gonna make that adjustment, and then she'll be back. And don't worry, I have articles lined up, so not a big deal at all. All right, let's get into this one while we give Nicola a chance to set up and change areas. So with this is kind of this next article is kind of speaking to again the logistics hub, uh, what's happening in construction and advancement in Jamaica, and let's see if we can put this in the comments. All right, I think this is another very positive thing for Jamaica. So I went ahead and wait, never mind. Looks like Nicola's ready, but maybe you can read that in the meantime. Okay, I think she's ready.
Do you want to do a
Oh,
test? Can you hear me better?
oh, this is better. Way better. Way better. Okay,
Okay.
excellent.
Nothing like being in nature.
There you go. There you go. Okay, so I'm gonna ask you if you could start over again, the origin story, just so everybody
The
can hear.
origin story.
Yes.
Okay, right. So I'm Jamaican by birth. For those of you, I went to St. Teresa and Excelsior, and then I migrated to the U.S., to the Pennsylvania area. And my basic background is culinary. So I went to Johnstown Wales University in Rhode Island and had a catering company in Connecticut. And then I moved back to Philadelphia area and started a restaurant for about 14 years, Jamaican Jarcut. And then after doing a lot of community development in that area, because the area of South Street that we were in was really dilapidated, and we kind of cleaned up the area. And then it kind of got gentrified, and they kind of kicked us out. They're like, "You got to go." So I said, "Wait a second! I just did all this work, um, kind of creating community and neighborhood and improving the neighborhood, and then the city is saying that you have to go." So I said, I shouldn't be doing this work in the U.S. that where you don't get any appreciation. I really should be back home doing this work. And so our family and friends, um, we were able to access 63 acres of land in St. Thomas, and we came back and we started doing our community development work here in St. Thomas. And so we actually have an intentional community, and that's how come we end up being so multifaceted, because with community you have to do everything, right? You have to learn about farming, how you're going to eat, what kind of buildings you're going to live in, energy, whether what kind of energy sources you're going to have access to, also about living in community, all the things that you need to do to kind of start and develop and sustain community. So my interest was always a community development component, but also food and agriculture. My parents had a farm when I was very young, and I didn't get a chance to kind of do that work in an adult. So I went back to it in an adult setting. And so, hence, my love of food and agriculture. Because in Philadelphia, when I was there, I was making all this food, Jamaican food, but a lot of it wasn't healthy because we had and having like a lot of slavery kind of food systems and ingredients and that kind of stuff. So how do we make our food healthier? So when I came back, I was like, I need organic, I need clean, I need a way how we looking at the environment is also something too for us to look at, and just kind of creating a regenerative system, and also all the medicinals as well. So that's the kind of the things that I do, and I work with um, creating the farmers market, Eugene Farmers Market, which is in Kingston, which is right now still the only organic farmers market on the island. We train organic farmers um, in St. Thomas, but also throughout the island. We had a USAID project that we would bring different people, about 70 volunteers that knew everything about the organic sector in West of Jamaica, to look at the whole value chain. And we're still now working on that project in terms of various aspects of it, from poultry production, organic, to medicinals, to distribution systems, and also just the basic retooling and retraining of farmers in Jamaica, and how to deal with this island, and stop importing so much food. So that's kind of the lens I look through. And so this is the work that I have on my path. How do we bring communities together? How do we improve our food system? So that's the kind of stuff that I've been doing over the years, and I continue to do now.
Amazing, amazing. You hit us with a ton right there. Also have a ton of questions. How long ago did you move from Philadelphia here?
Actually, this will be my 15 year back. I think we actually moved in '06. In '06 is when we moved, and so '06, '07. We had the land for about 2 years before. We acquired the land and went through the whole process of what's it kind of visioning, like what would this intentional community look like, and then we actually physically were on the ground, like December '06 into an '07, beginning of '07.
No, very cool because that's I moved here in June of '06. That's when I,
Okay,
yeah, yeah, same year.
you
So pretty
exited.
yeah.
You saw what was happening and you exited. It's great.
Yeah. I was gonna ask too, like, so how did you, like, who like took the leadership on the idea of like, hey, let's come together, let's formulate this group and move to St. Thomas and create this community.
Well, it's really two pieces of it. My
Okay.
mom, when we left Jamaica at the time, my parents got divorced, and we went to the U.S. And my mom was always on us about coming back to Jamaica. And she has there's three of us. My sister Keisha, who's a educator now in Virginia. My brother, who is the kind of the design builder for the domes and earth bag and that stuff, and myself. And so my mom was always like, "Oh, every time we have to go to Jamaica, we have to catch some family house and that kind of stuff." And so she's like, "We need to have a house there." And none of our kids want to go come back to Jamaica. Actually, we're like, we're throw a stone. We're not coming back. It's too
Mm-hmm.
corrupt. It's just too much. We can't deal with it. We were actually looking at Costa Rica or Belize to kind of move to.
Oh wow.
And so my mom was really honest about this. And then spiritually, it's kind of like how, the universe kind of create things or opportunities for it to happen. And so I ended up coming back to Jamaica on a working with a number of other Jamaicans that were in the Philadelphia area that wanted um, to kind of do a give back. So we created
Mm-hmm.
an organization where we bring students doing service learning from Temple University, Bryn Mawr, Westchester, Penn, to do service learning projects. And we picked St. Thomas because as a parish has kind of been left behind. And then by me coming back and working with the groups of students, I kind of I fell in love with Jamaica again. And it's kind of like the falling in love process. You fall in love with, with all that. And so I started coming back to Jamaica more and more. And then my mom mentioned it to somebody that were looking for some piece of land. And actually, she was asking for 3 to 6 acres. And the 63-acre property came, and we're like, no, 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 we can't afford that. That's not what we can't. And the person said, just come and look at it. And it was really a divine opportunity because it was really everything that we had asked for, that we had kind of written as a family and a vision board. We actually got everything. We got a stream that was running the property, a spring.
Wow.
We had this amazing views that we have here on Source Farm, and we're just really, really blessed. So I think it's kind of like a conspiracy with the ancestors wanting us back, and also my mom pushing and prodding at us to really come back. And so we really, went forward and saw the opportunities and decided to come back home.
And what do your siblings do? What was their professions?
Okay, so my brother was is a designer. He went to Drexel for interior design,
Mm-hmm.
and so he is what he's just a builder, contractor now. He builds the monolithic domes and the earth bag. And as a matter of fact, the first earth bag that we built was his thesis project, and so we did that project, and I kind of helped him on it because I was here on the ground doing stuff. And then my sister is an educator, so when we got together and had access to this land, it was the family and also our extended friends in the US. We kind of got together and I remember doing a visioning. We had a vision board, we had a flip chart, and we all put down what we wanted to do if we came back. And so, because we had this piece of land, we were able to co create all the things that we wanted to do here. And so, my sister is an educator. She does literacy, so literacy and art. Another friend of ours, Maria, who is an art teacher in Philadelphia, she would, participate in the art program here. We have a summer literacy program that they do every year, which focuses on literacy and art. And then Dwight is a builder, so he's been focusing on all the various building pieces. My mom was a nurse and also like a massage therapist, a water aerobics instructor. So she was interested in wellness. My sister-in-law is a nurse. And we just looked at all our skills and say, what do we want to do if money was no object, what we would do? And literally that's what we've been manifesting here. All our all the things that on our path that we wanted to do. We've been able to test and try and tinker around with things. My husband was a carpenter, so he wanted to actually get out of the U.S. and look at and build other things. And so it's really like everybody's dreams that they wanted to do, we're able to manifest it here. So that's how we kind of did that.
That's so awesome. Like that is like so incredible that you were able, that everybody was able to do that, right? And I think that's
Everybody.
like that's it's inherent, what you're doing is sustainable, but then when you also look at, the happiness of a person and of an individual, and what drives them, and it's great, and for somebody to move to a beautiful place, but then and to be on a beach or in the mountains or wherever it is, but then not to have like a sense of purpose on a day-to-day basis. Like all that doesn't matter, and you all have figured out a way from the very foundation to include and embed that sense of purpose that everybody has, towards like a collective goal, which I think is really, really amazing.
Yeah, it's really been a beautiful thing to kind of watch the things manifest. Because when we look at the property, we had one small building. I mean, little bit of a shack. And now when people come and see the various things that we've been able to manifest, it's been amazing. Sometimes I have to like, you kind of just do your day to day, but then sometimes you step back and go, oh my God, I can't believe we actually have a school building, we have a community kitchen, we have a wellness center, we have these amazing structures, and we're doing this sustainably. Like I went from Philadelphia worrying about a heating bill and like how am I going to heat my restaurant and my house, to really designing and embedding that I have my solar and wind and my water catchments, and that I can choose what to do or how hard to work or how hard not to work because of how I've designed my life. And so I don't have to feel like I have to go to Kingston to work. I can live very um, inexpensively because I designed it well first. And so I'm not stressed out about taking some job that I hate.
Hmm.
So every day I wake up, I'm just like, all right, what do you want to do?
Hmm.
And actually I'm working harder because it's things I'm working harder on for myself and
There you
for
go. Yep.
projects. And I love what I do. I'm in love with what I do. So I'm really blessed.
Awesome. And can you, for the folks that aren't aware, can you break down like the property as a whole, like the source farm, and just to give an idea of what the experience is like there?
Okay, right. So it's an intentional community, and we didn't know anything about intentional communities when we started this. We're just like, oh, we have this land, and kind of because other folks have been coming, they came and like, you're going to Jamaica, so everybody wants to come with you, right? So when people start coming with us, we was like, they were really serious about like you have all this land, what are you going to do with it? Why can't we join you? We're like, we don't know what we're doing. And then we got some education about intentional communities and read some books and visited some spaces in the US. And then we realized, oh, this is something we could do. So one of the first things that we didn't do, we didn't know about permaculture. And so we kind of just came and like the first thing that we built was my husband's wood shop. And we didn't know about permaculture. So we just dropped it someplace and we've
Can
been
you
paying for that.
can you explain what permaculture is?
Permaculture. Okay, so permaculture is a design system, is a holistic design system, and so like organic farming and sustainable energy, all these things are kind of nested under it. So it's like permanent agriculture, right? And so what we've noticed, through the centuries, wherever humans are, we tend to have a little bit of a destructive nature. So
Hmm.
we go a place and we use up the resources there, and often desertification happens, and we move to somewhere else. But how can we live in a space and actually improve on what is there, and how can we um, regenerate, not just destroy, right? And so we didn't understand that principle. We just thought, oh, we're going home and we know we need organic farming. That was it. But because we didn't understand the land, we didn't understand the land at all that we had. We didn't understand the cycles. We didn't understand the sectors. We didn't understand the wind. We didn't understand the sun. We didn't understand the rain. We didn't understand anything. And so we just started doing things. And then we ran into problems. And so someone explained to us about permaculture. And then we actually had a wonderful guy, Chuck Marsh, came to Jamaica and gave us pretty much a 2 week permaculture design course right on the property, and made us go learn about the land, made us like put small trails and figure out what's over here and what's over there, um, and really learn what we had. We didn't have knew we had like this amazing ecosystem where the stream was, and there was like waterfalls, and where the spring was, and there's a whole thing, and made us really look at the land and see what it had to offer. So we worked with the land instead of against it, right? We had one little error that we actually didn't, when we first did that building, we didn't understand. It's been causing us. That's a biggest mistake that we did, and we learned from that mistake. So now we don't just put buildings wherever. We actually understand how to lay things out, and we've been creating that permaculture design plan, and actually over the years slowly implementing it. We only, even though we have the 63 acres, we only use 20% of it for habitation. The rest of it is sits in a natural way, and we go to nature to learn from it and to go to interact with it in a different way, instead of like, oh, we have all this land, we feel like we have to build everything all over the place. We don't do that. We just we're very thoughtful in our design and how we interact with the space. So when you come into Source, you'll come into the main gate, and we have our kind of office and um, our first building that we kind of lived in, and it's kind of a transition house. And so people are coming to actually live and stay. They can come into that space, and then as they build, or they're allowed to build, they're able to then transition into their other house, into their house. So we have that. We have our school building, our first school building. And even the school building is really just, if it rains, people can really go into that building. But we are building more, or creating more places in nature, so we can be in nature while we are doing the work, instead of like always in these kind of um, physical structures. So we should be doing more outside living than inside living.
I love it. I love it. That's awesome.
Yes, so we're doing that. We have our community kitchen. We're in our community, which is which is one of my favorite things, is that um, a number of people live on the property, so we schedule who's cooking what night, and that person is responsible. So literally, I could only have to physically cook one night a week, and I cook for everybody, and then another night somebody else cooks. So we have our community kitchen where we can do that, or you can do it in your own house as well. But we have a community kitchen, and when we have events, we have a community kitchen. And if we have an event, maybe we bring in various people from the community that we've trained to cook in the way that we like to cook more healthy. And so it's Nadine or Julia. They come in and they can cook. And we have areas where people can have like a larger community settings there. And then the way how we design the land itself is that there's a public and private space. So the public spaces are like the community kitchen, the school, even the wood shop is one of those kind of public spaces. And then when we move further into the community, that's where our residential living is. And so that is where, kind of people's homesteads are. And so people have their homestead. They have a quarter acre to work on. They build their houses, their dome, their earthbag buildings, or whatever, and they're living in community in that space. And we have also a wellness center, which is a public space, so we can kind of keep the privates of your life versus a public, because a lot of people do want to come in and see what we're doing. And then we decide, we're going to show somebody a dome or earth bag or whatever it is that particular appropriate technologies that we're sharing with folks at that particular time. And we can share that and not be like in everybody else's houses all the time. So that's kind of how it's laid out. And then we have the area where we do have people come into nature. Like we just did a mushroom walk. We have a mycologist that's here, Owen Zika, and we are doing these mushroom walks. So he will take people into that other piece of the land that normally we don't build buildings in, right? And again, again showing that we're actually going into nature to learn, because we didn't disturb that ecosystem. We're now able to go in and see what is going on in there and learn that from that natural area. What is there? What medicines are there? What is it? What's going on? And you also feel differently when you're in those spaces, because you're kind of like absorbing all that the oxygen that the plants are putting out, and really feeling a different feel in that ecosystem. And then you can learn from it and then come back to these other structures and that kind of stuff. So so that's kind of what we do. And we just feel like, because everybody loves what they do, kind of, when people come here, they don't want to leave. They're like,
Yeah.
all right, go home. Um, because we're in a space of everybody's really enjoying what we do. And so that you feel that energy when you do come here. Not like we all have issues, problems. It's always one of those things that you always come into community. But because we've also um, have created opportunities for better communications, like we just did sociocracy. We have a formal consensus process that we use when we communicate with each other, and we kind of upgraded it to sociocracy. So we have a methodology of how we work together, right? And so that deals with a lot of any conflicts that come up, and we always are trying to work. We have state of grace agreements that we do with folks that are coming in, or even with ourselves. So we kind of look at how we interact with each other in a much kind of more evolved way, or we're trying to do that work on ourselves, and also when we work and live in community.
No, that's, man, so amazing. Like I'm blown away by almost everything that you're saying. State of grace agreement. Like I just love the way that sounds in it by itself. We're getting a lot of questions about what you actually farm on the
Mhm.
property. Could you go into that a little bit?
Right. Okay. So we are farming regeneratively. So right now we've been putting in a lot of fruit trees in. We wish we had started doing that when we put some things in, but we're putting a lot more fruit trees in. So we don't have to be constantly doing this cash crop right now. Currently we have kale and those kind of things in. We have a lot of ginger and turmeric in the space now, but we just are going through a drought. We just actually last 2 days got some rain. So we had planted some things in, and we didn't have a lot of. Um, Actually, one of our water tanks broke, so we had to kind of hold up on a lot of the planting that we were planting in, because then a lot of things kind of just dried up. So we're just waiting on rainfall right now, and we're
And
going to about.
Nicola, before you move on, can you just explain what cash crop is?
Okay, right. So the cash crops are things that are would be easy, like short span growing within um 6 weeks to four months of growing cycle, right? So those are things like, you know, greens, leafy greens, tomatoes, some of the tomato things, just things that are very easy to kind of grow, and you can harvest that out within, I would say, 6 weeks to 6 months. The much more longer crops would be like bananas. That those have like a 9 month growing cycle, 9 months to a year, and then you have the tree crops that are we're trying to put more in, because that's a much more regenerative system. And so maybe I'll transit and speak a little bit more about like Jamaica as a whole and what we have. So when I started, learning about farming here in Jamaica, I thought we had really great soils. And then I started talking to other people like Dr. Webster from Case, and he explained to us that our actual soil came from when they trace it back, coming from out of Mexico. So there must have been a big explosion. A lot of that topsoil that we got landed here, right? In terms of, the dust and how how things are grown. And we have a lot of limestone because these islands have been around for a lot of many years. So a lot of limestone here. We have a very thin amount of topsoil. And so it's really, really, really important for Jamaicans to understand that we have to build our soil, right? We have a very, in the US, you may have very deep beds where you have 3 to 4 feet of soil there. We don't have that. So every time we do an earth movement and earthworks, meaning like somebody's building their house and they move soil, or somebody is trying to farm something and they're just tilling the soil, we're losing soil. Or when it rains, because we haven't, taken care of our, our land, and that water washes off into the sea, there's no machine to bring that back up. Once we lose that subsoil, which took, thousands and thousands of years to make, and we lose it, there's no bringing it back up on land. So our biggest the richness of what we have is our soil. When you think about it, every single thing that we do comes from the soil, right? The clothes you wear, even all the computer devices that we have, all that stuff is from the natural world. And if when we lose it in that way, because we're not thoughtful about our interactions, we actually get, destroying the wealth of our nation. right? So every time you see it rains and you see the plumes of soil around the coast, we should be crying because we've just lost a good amount of soil that we need to sustain ourselves, right? So that's part of it. So we have another piece of land. We've been very blessed to get another 370 acres of land for a research station, and we're now putting in more vegetable production and more regenerative as well, but also putting in more medicines as well in terms of what we do, and also on source. Everyone that is a residential member living there, they have to have their own gardens, right? So there's a farm area that we use, and it's kind of a teaching farm, and we put things on there. But you're also responsible for putting in your own gardens, right? Because it's an intentional community, and your intention is always to make sure that you feed yourself, right? So you're not relying on other people. You're making sure that that happens, that you have things growing. So if it's bananas and other vegetables and herbs and medicines and that kind of stuff, everybody should be putting those things in around their homestead. So I don't know if you have other questions. I don't. I'm just kind of talking.
No, no, that's great. That's great. This kind of brings us a real understanding of what you do there and also why you do that. Because I was like, when I was looking at your website and the cash crops, like, I thought that was an important words or phrase to understand. And you explaining like it takes like a longer harvesting period for certain types of food and obviously start sooner rather than later. I thought that's like very important to understand moving forward. Um, on your site, you had I saw that you had mentioned soil nourishment practices, and you had also mentioned that the 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 soil in Jamaica is thin. And could you explain that, like in like relative to other countries or areas, and what is meant by that?
Right. So if you ever get a chance to look at a section into the soil, you'll see that a lot of it is in various places. It's limestone. Is we have a lot of limestone here, especially in the parish that we're in. So a lot of limestone, or a lot of bauxite soils are there as well in different places. And actually, you could have a piece of land and you could have various different composites of how that's on the land, right? But the
Mhm.
soil, for the most part, it's very thin. Maybe you go down about a foot in actual soil that you can actually plant into, right? And so when you're going to, if you're on your land or whatever, if you have your land or you're going to be coming farming, you have to take a cross section. That's why they always say to me, do a soil test to see what you're working with. Not every single thing that you want to grow is going to grow well. When I came here, I thought, oh, I'm going to grow chocolate, cocoa. And the RADA officers came up and said no, and I'm like, what do you mean no? He's like, you have a lot of limestone. It doesn't grow well in limestone. You can't just grow that here.
Mm.
And that's, yeah. So there are certain things that will grow well here with a lot of coconut trees that tend to grow well here. So you have to kind of think about those things if you're thinking about farming. It's like, what soil do I have, and what can I do with that? Can I build it? You should always be building soil. That's what organic is about, is building soil. And or if you're building soil, can you build soil to fit what you might have in mind to grow? You know, so you want to also look at some of those things. I'm going to just move a little bit out of the sun right now
Okay,
to
yeah,
just
no
get
problem.
that sun. 1 second.
As you do that, somebody asked if you can show the property a little bit since you're standing up already. Is that possible?
Well, I can only show right now. I'm on the back of the school building,
Okay, all right.
and so we're just. I'll just turn the computer around, and I don't know. Just right now, it's just the rear part of where
Okay,
we.
we're only seeing the sky.
Oh, sorry. Let's see. I don't know. I'm just trying to see if I can
Yeah,
show
no,
you.
okay, cool,
Right.
cool.
And you can see it's a little bit. It's been a little bit dry
Yeah,
because
yeah. Oh, so this is the school building there?
right. So this is the rear
Okay,
part of the school building,
okay.
and so even with this, there is, when we were looking at structures, we brought in a Quonset hut,
What's that?
which is one of the dome kind of buildings. It's like what you see sometimes airport hangars.
Oh, okay, yeah.
um,
I know you're talking about.
right.
Yep.
And so it comes on a pallet. It's very, just a regular sized pallet, and we just kind of crinkled it out. And what we noticed when we did that for my husband's wood shop, and we decided to do that because it's a very inexpensive building solution, and you can just bolt it up, and in 1 week you could actually have a structure,
Oh
right? You do
wow.
the base and then you just build up. And so we decided to put, glass doors and glasses so you can bring a lot of light in. We positioned it in a certain way that we would make sure we catch all the breeze. It's a great, wonderful surface because we collect all the water that runs off of it into a pond. So we're again using the permaculture principles of, you know, catch and store water, anything catching and storing, all the different principles in permaculture to really, when we do any of our design work or anything that we're adding, we always look at all those principles and making sure that we're in alignment with what we are doing. And we'll also make sure we save, obviously saving money, because if you're putting those principles in, it's also making it more affordable for you to do something. So I'm just sitting in this very wonderful, cool space, lots of lemongrass around, a pond is there. And then even around that, we planted pear trees, we have lemongrass, we have lime, um, we have other medicinals as well that I'm seeing, all kinds of wonderful. Strongback is here, we have neem, we have, I'm just looking all around me for all the plants that are here and what the diverse uses of them are, and then really creating a really cool effect, and also very, because we're using the prevailing winds to cool the building, right?
Awesome.
So you say, so all those things are some things that we think about when we put this thing together.
I think you're making a lot of people very jealous in your description of your surroundings. Oh, it sounds heavenly to say the least.
We're very, very
Um,
blessed.
I do. There's a couple, loads and loads of questions in the comments. I'm gonna go through about a few of them, and then we'll get back to a few more questions that I may have.
Right.
So Jennifer asks, are you looking at offering woofing opportunities, farm work, volunteering in exchange for accommodations?
Well, okay. We did when we first started out. We did do a few woofing opportunities. But what I found with a lot of the people that came for woof, it was really an inexpensive holiday, and they really weren't interested in working.
Gotcha.
They find a Rasta person and then gone off with them, and that was the end of that. So I'm listen, guys. I'm gonna keep it real. If you ask me, I'm telling you straight up.
That's what we want. That's what we
But we
need.
have had some really what we have done in the past, what we've done, and we even now we do it. We do have work exchangers, right? And
Hmm.
so the way how we do work exchange is that you pay for your food, um, and I think it's like $30 a day. You're paying for your food because people think that coming to Jamaica is cheap. It isn't. Food is very expensive here, right? And so at least if you decide to just play around, it doesn't cost us anything. I'm just being very honest, because a lot of people come and they say they're going to woof, and they really don't work,
Right.
or they level of work that we need to do, it's too hard, they can't take it, it's something, they're afraid of this, all that kind of stuff. So if
Hmm.
you want to come, but we've had some people that have come and done amazing, amazing, amazing work, and we love to have them back. So it really comes case by case basis, and when you do, you can apply. It always applies on the website. You can apply, and then we check it out. We see really that it's a good match for us, and because we are also taking time to put energy into sharing and working with you, because it's not like you just come and you just think you know what you need to do. We have to like actually invest time and energy into making sure that you're okay, and that the work that we need done, that we're working cooperatively, and that the things that get done. We've had work exchanges that come, and I'm like, okay, can you weed this bed? And we show them what to weed, and they weed up all the pineapples, and that was the end of the pineapples.
Oh my gosh.
We've had some interesting stories, right? So
I can imagine. Yeah.
right, but we just had a wonderful group come from Germany, and they just were they really they were also organic farmers, so they were very helpful, and they actually made it worth it. But we want to make sure it's a right fit, and you're not coming here thinking um, you just come to chill.
Hmm.
Everybody here works. We work very hard because we love what we do, and we love it. So we don't want people to just come in like, oh, we're just going to chill. It's not that kind of place. So don't apply if you're one of those people.
Right. Of course.
Don't.
Marie D asks, do you have animals on this property?
It's gone through various iterations. We've had ducks and chickens, and but right now we just have just pets because the dogs have come in and ate the ducks, the dogs have come in and ate the chickens, the
Oh
mongoose have ate
boy.
the chickens. We are about to put another set of chickens in for eggs, so that's been what we've been working with. Yeah,
Gotcha.
so pretty much we'll do chickens. Um, we've had people have had goats on here from time to time, but sometimes it's
Mhm.
hard when you're farming to have goats because everything the goat eat or touch, that's the end of that.
Right,
So we've had to
right, right.
not have the goats. So we're doing the poultry for eggs, and we're about to get another set now.
Awesome. Kevin Barrett asked, do you think co-op collaborations with other Jamaicans abroad could help local farmers like yourselves on the island? And if so, how would you suggest we go about such a collaboration?
Absolutely. I mean, this has been a thing that I've been really wanting more development around. Um, so we have a couple of things that we want to do. One, as much as I've been saying about the work exchange, I think it's important for Jamaicans abroad to really come back and make that connection with farmers. Like we have a farming group that we've been working with in St. Thomas for the last um, really 10 years, over 10 years really. And we started a farmers market and all that stuff. I think that sometimes like we just did a thing with Tuskegee University, and those students came and we needed to do soil tests and we needed help on farm for different days. Organized, they came and they really gave us a big strength, a big push. So yes, that's one way. I think also in terms of advocacy in the US around our food is a huge thing. Like when you go to these Jamaican stores or these usually these Asian stores selling African and Jamaican products, or any stores that is really Jamaican, it's to not just ask for Jamaican products, but ask for organic products, right? That would really help us because there are a lot of people that do farm here, but because they're just, you know, they're running down the dollar, they are really poisoning both the people in Jamaica and the people in the US. And I give you an example. People farming yam. We export a lot of yam still to the US, and a lot of that yam is being sprayed. The air is being sprayed. Fertilizer is being used on it, and then you're now taking it and being so excited for getting yam in the US, and you're not understanding that it may be toxic because people are spraying. So I think the advocacy, because us in Jamaica, people living in Jamaica, they're not getting the whole thing about organic sometimes. They just feel that everything is good, and because how they've been trained by over the last 40 years by, I would say, RADA and anybody else that have a chemical company that wants to dump off chemicals in Jamaica,
Hmm.
they just come and they come on with the bling and the hat and the jacket, and they pay for lunch, and they tell the RADA officers this is a new best thing, and it's full of toxins, and they tell the farmers that this is what they need to use, and the farmers are not doing research because they're farming and they think it's a thing, and then they spray it, and then sometimes it comes back to the US in the form of a product that you're now eating. So the advocacy is very important. Where is this coming from? Is this organic? All those, keep asking those questions, and also encouraging your people at home. If you have relatives at home, wait, you're growing, you're farming. What are you farming? And the education piece, having that conversation with them so that they understand that there is a care. Like, we always say when America gets a cold, we get the flu, right? And so, because of some of the practices that have been being taught, we are now in a state of food insecurity here in Jamaica because of some of these practices, right? And so they're worried about fertilizer when we have a 12-month growing season, and we should be composting and doing our own fertility on the land. And so, what can you do? Advocacy is a major, major, major part, right? That can happen. And actually, the volunteerism is also another part of that. Is to come when you come, don't just stay on the beach. Try to organize that you're go on a farm, help on a farm. We have a farming network that we could organize with, and also support by buying clean products. Go to the farmers market, support the farmers market, and also the various farmers that are doing the right thing, I think that's a great way to collaborate and then support. Sometimes we have farmers here that want to put a particular crop in, and they just need a little bit of extra, a couple of extra dollars to make sure that they have irrigation or something like that. Those are some of the things that you can kind of do to give back and actually get paid back for your money, and also see where it's really assisting the country in a better way. Not just about farming and just, you know, big cash crop farming where you're still poisoning people. So I think that's very important for us to really understand. There's food, there's farming, and there's also healthy eating, right? And not supporting systems that are not supporting us.
Is
Sorry, yeah.
No, no, I love it. I love it. Everybody in the comments is loving it. They're really, really appreciating what you have to say here, and this is something that everybody wants to know about, and in at least in this community about organic farming, and you're clearly laying out the importance of it, and then also a level of ignorance as well that we need to kind of dispel as much as we possibly can. Is there a particular crop that you'd like to see Jamaican farmers do more of and plant more of?
I think it's really it's a holistic approach, right? Because a lot of times when you start to say a particular crop, then we forget that it's an ecosystem that we're farming in, right? Whenever we do a monocrop system, it's almost creating a buffet for the pest, right? So you
Okay.
don't want to ever have a monocrop. You want to have a very collective companion plants and all a proper ecosystem when you're farming, right? And so I really discourage people to just do a one crop thing, but to make sure that it's crop rotation and intercropping. And I give you an example of this. Well, let me start in this thing. I think that every plant is, I move from just the food in general, but plant medicine. If you get a carrot, there's a reason the carrot is there. The carrot is going to give you certain things because we can't in our body uptake the particular mineral that the carrot has. So we need to eat it. And out of that, our body's going to extract what it needs, right? So when we're doing this work, there's companion plant. There's a reason, like the plants that are nitrogen fixing, you're fixing nitrogen for the other plants. It's a whole really dynamic, amazing system that was designed, right? So I'll give you an example. We have somebody who's farming, could be Scotch bonnet peppers. In that field, there's a lot of, shema lady, they call it shema maca, or in the US they call it mimosa, and they're weeding that plant out and throwing it out. But that is actually medicine that is needed, right? So when we're doing this work, Jamaica is so amazing. Like when I'm just sitting here looking, and I see strongback, I see Spanish needle, I see so many different plants that is in front of me, different leaves that we could be. Um, the pear leaf and the pear seed is something that you make into tea and you is medicine. So we need to stop looking at food just to consume it and make it feel good. And I'm a chef, right? And I've been a chef, and I love to make things beautiful, and but not just think about the beauty and making yourself full, but what exactly you're intaking, and are you actually getting enough nutrition? Because a lot of food that we're eating now has no nutrition in it. All the processed foods is processed away. We're microwaving everything. Your body is actually starved, and that's why you see a lot of people that are overweight is because they keep eating this food that is not really food. It's really like you could just put some things on some seasoning cardboard and actually probably get more nutrients out of that than what we're eating. So when we're thinking about it, it's like, is that carrot, is that beet, is that banana, is that being grown in the highest frequency that we can get what we need from it, and not just we just eat a belly full, right? And the only thing that's really allowed us, I think, in Jamaica to be as healthy as we can are, is because we still have access to a lot of the fruits, the fruit trees that is there. And we tend not to spray the fruit trees with a lot of things, so we can get the pear when it's in season, and the soursop and all these different other fruits that is actually allowing us to like survive. But we're eating rice, which is forming mucus. We're eating flour, which is sprayed with Roundup to ripen the wheat, and we're ingesting that, and we wonder why our stomachs are having issues. We're eating things in Jamaica that we don't even grow anymore. We don't grow rice. We don't know where that rice is coming from. We don't the red beans. It's all now become commodities. Red beans, we don't grow red beans. Very a little bit about the red beans that we grow. That's grown in somewhere else. How is it grown? I mean, you have to know what you're putting in your body, and if you don't know what you're putting in your body, then you've got yourself open to all kinds of things. So for us now, I think for us in Jamaica, we need to really shift the way that we are looking at what we consume, right? And really think about that. Everything you put in it, is this going to help me, help my body work, or is it going to hurt my body, right? And I think we look at that when we put something in our mouth. Is this something going to help us or hurt us? And when we start to do that, we start to kind of take back our power, right? Because everybody else is designing for us, right? They're designing, I'm going to make this particular product, and they're designing for us to consume so they can make money. But what are we designing for ourselves, right? Just like how we have this intentional community and we designed what we want to, how our lifestyle should be. We should be designing our food that way as well. Do you know who your farmer is? Do you have a relationship with your farmer? Is that somebody in Jamaica, certain people not eating from? We don't even know who we're eating
Mm,
from, right? So I'm not eat from that person becoming that person is like, we don't like them energy or how them eat. We don't even know. We're just consuming whatever they give us, and we wonder why we're not well, right? Where we are in this ease, right? So, as in terms of food, we have to get back to that first piece of understanding what our body needs, and that everything we put in is medicine. If it's not medicine, don't eat it. If you look on that package and it has all these things that we can't even pronounce, the body isn't going to be able to. It's too complex, and our body set up a certain way. It needs to know if it has to break things apart that it doesn't even know what that synthetic thing is. Then it just lodges itself in our liver, our kidneys, and then we have to go on. We end up being on dialysis, right? It's just what it is, or having diabetes, right? So we have to start thinking about that. Then when we start thinking about farming, are we farming practices that are going to be regenerative? Are we farming practices not poisoning us? Are we putting fertilizers on the soil, which the fertilizer is a salt, which is salting the land? In Europe, you may have read in those ancient days when they would fight a war with somebody and then they would salt the land. That means nothing is going to grow for a number of years. And when you put fertilizer on the land, which is a salt, it's going to salt the land. And so you always end up having to put some more fertilizer on it just to get something to grow, right? So these are the kind of things that we just are basic things that we don't understand because we just wake up every day and we think that forward on this island, right? We live on an island. We have to be very thoughtful about how we are working with our environment. And so we stop reducing the amount of production that this land can grow and actually create regenerative systems that will build soil and repair the damage that we've been doing. And the other thing is we've been very extractive. People came and enslaved people, brought them here, and all they did was pull, extract, extract, extract. There was nothing set to replenish the land, right? Sugar went, we made rum, exported. We do this, we exported. With this, we exported. And we're not rebuilding our soils. We're not rebuilding any of those things to like allow us to sustain ourselves here. And so we have to start looking at some of those things. Sorry about that.
no, don't be sorry. Don't be sorry at all. That was amazing and eye opening in so many ways. And do I know my farmer? Like we know our farmer here at the hotel here at Travelers, but I just think like when I go to buy groceries, like no, I don't. I don't necessarily know who I'm getting it from or where it's coming from. Um, I try to buy locally, like to go to the market downtown. We try to do a farmers market here in the grill once a month, but we haven't had one in quite some time.
Mhm.
But it just kind of made my brain start going and thinking, and it's just like, no, I don't have answers to these questions, and I didn't think about rice like that. How you explained, what do you do to replace rice? Because I feel like it's part of like I probably eat rice. No, not probably. I eat rice every day, every single day. Like,
Well, I mean,
yeah.
the thing is that we used to grow rice here.
Hmm.
There's actually it's interesting because I'm doing a lot of seed work, and I checked the USDA. They have a seed repository, and they have some of our rice. We came and collected samples of it, and they have our rice. And I'm like, we need to repatriate and get our rice back and start growing
Hmm.
rice again. So we have the ability to grow, and we used to grow rice. That's one. Two. we need to look at other things. There's other be more creative with the products that we can grow. There's the sweet potato. There's a gentleman that has a little machine, and I saw it, and I'm going to actually get one, and he calls it a ricer, and he actually uses the sweet potato and the yams, and he pushes it through it, and it actually looks like rice, right?
Oh
So
wow.
we have to
Okay.
decide. I mean, we can be using more of those crops that we have that we grow. Either A, we go liberate our rice and start growing it. You can contract farm with farmers, right? So sometimes we just go. It's about planning, and I'm going to give you two stories, right? It's about planning. As a chef, we can plan our menu and we know what we want. We take the time to do that. And then you go to the farmers and say, listen, I know that I'm going to be needing this amount of product. Can you put this in for me? And you contract grow with those farmers, right? That's totally doable. And you know that the farmer is going to work with you, and you can go and check your crop and all that stuff. In America, they use a lot of CSAs, community sponsored agriculture project. That's what most of the farmers are sustaining themselves on in the US now, is that people prepay for things and then they grow it and you get. But you can actually create that kind of opportunity where you can contract with farmers and you can
I think we lost Nicola there. Give it a second. See if she comes back. Not sure if you can hear me, Nicola, but we lost you. We got the screen is frozen.
I'm
Okay,
back. Can you hear
there
me?
you
Yeah,
go.
the wind
Okay,
blew.
yeah.
So you can actually create those opportunities with the farmers that are around you, and then you have a direct relationship. And it's also important for you to do this as well, because I'm looking at this food security thing very seriously because I see what's going on in the U.S. I
Hmm.
see that a number of the Amish farmers in that state of in what happened in Ohio, they produce a lot of food. All that stuff that happened is going to poison Mississippi, going all the way down. We're gonna just
You're
even
talking.
realistically, when
You're
COVID
talking about
happened, we normally import our
the train
seeds from the
crash.
US.
You're talking about the chemical train
The
crash. I
train
just want
crash
to make
that
sure
happened in the
everybody's
US,
aware.
right?
Right.
So it's not right. Yeah, it's not. It's, people have just been glossing over it, but it's very important because
Hmm.
those areas, once it starts to, it starts to spring happens and all that water starts to run, it's going to be all in the Mississippi, and you don't really want to be messing with that. So all those farmers that are in Ohio, which actually is one of a very big belt of Amish farmers, their lands are like gone for 11 years. Okay, that's it. And so we have to have more food security. And I give another example. When we had COVID going on, I would call because I organize a lot of times the seeds for the organic farmers. I'm the one that puts the permits in and brings it in. I'm calling Johnny's. I'm calling all the different seed companies, and they're not exporting any seeds, right? So we didn't have seeds because we weren't prepared, right? And this is
Hmm.
still the case, right? They're not selling seeds into the Caribbean into us, and the only seeds that we have are treated seeds, and we can't use those treated seeds in organic system. So yeah, you need to know your farmer. So if stuff goes down and you've already been developing this relationship with the farmer, you're more likely to get products versus somebody else. So it's just food security. It just makes sense, right? It just makes sense. The other thing that you can do is get somebody trained up. We've done this before. We've trained up other people that want to go organic. They send the staff over, we train up, and you actually start putting in a farm for yourself so you have certain things. You can't say you do everything, but as much. And you need to interview the different people and ask them how they're growing things. Because, it's like you are actually supplying people that you think that you're doing something healthy. And if you don't know where this is coming from, it's a hot mess, a hot mess. And the government has not really spoken much about it, but there's a lot of soil stuff that's going now. There's Liz Solms that is going around the island and doing the pesticide residue test in the various parishes to see where that high level of pesticide is being used, right? So it's a fertilizer and the pesticides, and people are stealing. You go to the market, you don't know if they stole that product that was just sprayed because you don't know the farmer.
Hmm.
So there's a lot of things that are going on that we need to be aware of in terms of produce. And the more aware you are, is the more you're likely to navigate the space and not get caught eating something that was just sprayed because they need money, or they're stolen and you don't know, or The farmer is just unconscious and just about making the dollar and don't care about your health. So the more of those kind of questions you ask, it's interesting. Like we go, we see these watermelons, and I'm like, oh, they look great. And I look at the top of the watermelon, it's like residue. And I'm like, and the guy's telling me, oh, this is not the bad spray we use. You should see the other spray that they're using on the pineapple. That one day the pineapple is green and next day it's ripe. What kind of
Oh wow.
chemical you're going to spray one day and the next day it is ripe, right? There's also another chemical that's out there. Somebody's illegally importing it. They're using it. They're using tick wash on spraying because they want to worry about the bugs. Tick wash, which is poison. Another chemical that they're using in St. Elizabeth that and what we found out about is like people they would get it and they spring it wiping down tables. You put your arm against it, it burns you. They're using that to spray pests. So you have to know your farmer and the integrity of your farmer to know that they're not doing that stuff. So okay, I don't think we wanted to talk all about that, but it's something that people need to be aware of because people just are just going to the market. In our farmers market, we don't allow anything from St. Elizabeth. I know I'm going to get yelled at. They have to
Oh
do a
wow,
residue test
really?
because a lot of soils are bauxitic and they have heavy metal. You
Mm.
have to know what you're getting. So for people to come into our farmers market, they have to do a residue test to show me that what they're working with. They're
What does
very
that
strict.
what does that consist of? A residue test?
Right, we send it off to University of West Indies in the chemistry lab, and then they test for different. They have a set of tests that they do. They'll test to see what residue is it glyphosate in. Are they bringing in glyphosate into the products because they may have sprayed with Roundup. We come and check farms, but if we're not sure about something, we do a residue test to see what is coming up, right? If the farm to kind of keep the farmer honest to see what is going on. So these are some of the things we have to wake up because we're here. All we really have, you could have as much money as you want. If you don't have your health, you don't have nothing,
Right,
right?
right,
You're going to just be spending money on the doctor, going and spending money that way. So it makes sense to make sure that whatever we consume, that it is something that you know where it's coming from, you know what you're eating, and if not, try and putting some of your own things in a garden on your balcony or whatever. Try to start doing some of that. Learn. We're the only species I think that thinks that somebody else is responsible for our food. I mean, yeah, you work a computer, you work at a desk, but you can't find a bear or a deer, or, I mean, a bird. They are looking at whether we're like, oh, we don't have to worry about that. But if we don't think about our food and where it comes from, like anybody can give you anything, and you just be then
right.
dealing with it after. That's
Oh,
why I'm
that's
so concerned about food. Sorry,
right. No,
and this
no,
is for
please
some
don't
goodness.
apologize. No, I can feel your passion through the internet here, and you're giving us a lot of insight and a lot of things to think about in terms of like some of the things you're saying. Like I didn't even know was happening in Jamaica. I thought that was like more of an American thing. I do have. I want to be respectful of your time. We're just over an hour here. Are you okay with keeping going?
Yeah, because I think that when I
Okay.
looked at the questions, I don't think we answered many of the questions of the
Right, we
questions.
have a lot. Yeah, no, we have a lot. So okay,
And
as long as you're good, I'm
I'll
good.
try to be shorter with the answers so that we can do another half an hour, and then I do have to go.
Okay, perfect. I
But
really, really appreciate that, and I'm
so
sure
give me
everybody
those
here
other
does as well.
main questions. Right.
Okay, so we got this one from Sean. Organic farming is ideal, but can we produce enough to feed the country and export organically? So we need to understand the science of agriculture.
Right. So we're at a very important time in history, and I'm also realistic. I think if we say everybody should become organic farmers tomorrow, we would have a problem because it is training. And organic, for the most part, is a traceability thing. It's a industry word that they put on it. But what I'm actually moving away from just organic because it's been co-opted in the U.S. that you can do various other kinds of farming like hydroponics, and that is they consider it organic, and it isn't. Organic means it's from the soil, right? The
Mhm.
soil, and so um, I want to see. It took us a number of years to get to this dysfunctionality. Like really took us 40 years. We went through a lot of brainwashing with the Green Revolution, and that we're going to be able to, this methodology. And I don't even think people understand. Okay, so before when our grandparents were farming, they knew the systems of of how to create the fertility, right? We didn't just, the reason that we even came, that we were imported um, or exported from Africa is because we had been growing in Africa for obviously centuries, right? We have that methodology, we know what we're doing. And they were brought over, enslaved onto these lands because we actually do know how to farm, right? And so we have that wealth of knowledge, that history. And then we went through in the 40s and 50s with this green revolution crap, where the when they had leftover um, things from like Agent Orange, all these things that they used in the Vietnam War and the various wars, they had these chemical stockpile. They had to do something with it. So what they did is decide that we can, we can change it up a little bit and relabel, and we'll be able to sell it to farmers. Um, and we'll, because a lot of it was nitrogen based. When you add nitrogen to the plant is now green, right? But it also is doing a lot of other things that is not beneficial. So they are selling this idea in terms of all the better living through chemistry, right? But meanwhile, it is moving away from the natural practices that for millennium that farmers have been able to, the people working with the land knew about. And so what your grandfather did was old, not important, not he don't know what he's doing, to this better way of living and faster growth and all this stuff. And in the meantime, you're poisoning yourself. So we move from that. So now we're at a very important point where we need to use the innovation, but also look at some of the practices and understand the practices, right? Um, that we need to use to grow and to look back. That's why permaculture is so important, because it looks at some of the old systems, like biochar, like compost, um, using various how we water things, all those different things, to make sure that we actually are creating a regenerative system. And so it's a transition now, because we got 40 years of bad practices, and over the next time we'll be able to do this. But we could do it faster if people knew and people understood, because then you'll be able to act for what you want. The only reason that you start to see organic produce in Walmart is because the consumer kept saying, "I want organic." If we don't insist on the best, we will not get it. We'll get crap, right? So every time you go in, I use myself as a good example. I'm a bread maker, and I used to just make bread. I would where we do a lot of different kinds of bread. People kept saying, "I want gluten free," because they're having issues with their stomach. I want to make sure that this bread is organic. And so I had to change the way I was doing things, because like my customers are demanding that. And so as people who are out there in the market, we actually have the power. And people forget that we are the ones that have the power, right? If we ask for something and we say we're not interested in that anymore, and we stop supporting that and feeding our energy to that, it dies, right? It's no longer. And that's why Whole Foods and Trader Joe's and all these people have popped up to offer the consumer something, because the consumer is like, I don't want that crap anymore. But if we in Jamaica and Black people in general don't ask for more stuff, the more that we feed that system, is the more it perpetuates itself. You want to decide that we're not doing that anymore? Just say one day, if everybody say we're not, this is going to be controversial. If we decide we're getting bad treatment from a particular phone company, and everybody said we're not supporting that anymore, we don't buy no credit that day, their stock prices drop, right? We're supposed to be doing the same thing with our food. If we don't want that, we don't support that. We don't go and support something that is poisoning us, right? We start to do things that empowers us. And the organic farmers, the people that want to do the right thing, we have to be constantly fighting to tell people that we don't want to poison them, right? Why are we the ones that are trying to give people healthy choices have to be, begging people to understand that they need to be eating better, you know what I mean? And that they need to support this kind of farming and not support people that don't have our best interests at heart. And you've got to vote with your dollar. And you do that by supporting the farmers that are doing the right thing. And then from that note, more people will come over to do organic, because they realize that nobody wants their crap anymore. So they have to make that shift. And that's what we're doing right now, is training up new farmers to go in that direction. Because just for us in Jamaica, in terms of farming, we have so many people that call us that want organic products from Jamaica. They want organic turmeric, ginger, the yams, the Scotch bonnet pepper, you name it. But we don't have enough people producing it to even say we're going to export or even sell across the island or into the Caribbean. Right? There was a junket that came down a couple of years ago, and it was the fancy food people that do the all the fancy food shows. They're looking
Hmm.
for new products, but they want only organic. We on the island could not send them one product fully with quantity that is clean.
Wow.
That shows you something. So they're looking. They go to other places. So we lose a boat every time that somebody calls me and says, "I need some Scotch bonnet pepper, but I want to make a pepper sauce, and I want it to be organic." We don't have a system to even like export it because everything at the wharf is sprayed up. Is it's all sprayed up. So you have to spray everything. There's not a system designed yet to be able to export really organic products in that way. You have to make it value added, and then you maybe be able to do something. So it's really a shame. No products that we could actually tap into that market.
With the ideology that you have of consumers having the power, which I believe and I think that is true, and creating that demand for these companies to require organic goods, you're fighting really like a two front war here. Like one is the educational aspect of what you're doing a fantastic job right here and right now in terms of educating the mass consumer market to understand that look, you're poisoning your body. There's poison going into the soil, which is going into the food that you are consuming, and this is happening on a mass level. And we need to do something about that. So there's that front, and then on the opposite side, I would say it kind of compounds it is that you have the great, huge marketing machines of big food that you are just from basically since you're a bit, especially if you're an American, but if you're since you're a baby, you're being fed these commercials, these billboards, um, even within cartoons to eat certain foods that you just start to become part of this negative ecosystem that you get to a certain age and young people like I'm even saying a young age where now all of a sudden you're into the environment of the big pharma and you have to consume these modern day medications to really counteract these modern day diseases that were created by chemicals and what we ingest into our bodies. And so it's just like that is a big war. That is a huge war that you are fighting against. And like that's the way and how I think of it.
Right. It is a big it's a big machine that is there.
Hmm.
But just like all big machines, you take your time, and it didn't happen overnight, and you don't get discouraged, and you have programs like yours. I'm sure that I may be saying something that maybe other people that are listening is the first time they're hearing it, right?
Yes,
But
for
because
sure.
we have the power of the media and the power of it's now a lot faster than before. Before it used to be. Now you could just say something and across you're streaming it live and people are understanding. So I'm not saying this thing is a it took a time to get to this dysfunction, but it means that we take the time to start deprogramming ourselves, right?
Hmm.
And I'm not saying it's going to happen in my lifetime. I would say I have a 100-year plan, right? And so I started, I come in and I'm just one person that someone else has already started this work and I'm just piggybacking on it. And so by creating the opportunities to demonstrate what is possible and it's how we're making that change, right? One person at a time. Not everybody's going to be awake. Some people are really much asleep and they're not going to get it. It's okay. But those of us who are awake and want to came into the planet at this particular time to make those choices, they need to make the choices and know that there are other people out there making the same choices, right? And then we build on it. The next generation builds on it. And I feel really hopeful because a lot of the young people that I'm interacting with, they are on it. They get it. They are making those choices. They're coming to the farmers market and asking about their food, wanting to know who the farmers are. They're actually getting involved and taking the permaculture courses and the organic farming courses and becoming aware. And so we just have to make it more accessible for them and to have continue to have these conversations because, you know, just like myself, when I went to the food service, I didn't know about stuff. I was just like, give me this ingredient, that ingredient. And it comes to a point where you start, if you keep hearing it enough, then you start to register like, oh, maybe I shouldn't be using this microwave. Maybe and your conscience starts to get to you, or maybe I shouldn't be, where's this chicken coming from? And where's this vegetable coming from? And you start having that your conscious raising moments. Um, and then you start making the changes, and change is slow. I don't believe in these quick things. I believe that it takes time to make the change, and when you make those changes, then it's really makes sense, and it's something that's sustainable, not the quick thing. I'm going to do it, and then the next minute you forget about it and you don't really do it. So there are a number of people on the planet now that get it, and it's for us to know that we should be working together and doing the work. Don't be afraid. Step up. Start a farmer's market. Start gardening for yourself. Go take that class. Look at those YouTube videos. Start doing wherever you are, whatever you can do. Just make that one step, and I feel like the universe will support you. But if you don't make the step because you're afraid and you worry about what everyone's going to think and you worry about big whatever, then we're not going to make the movement that we need to make, right? So everybody should be, it's all hands on deck at this point. And just like us, if we didn't listen and make that move, it's a crazy thought to think you're going to go start a village. Are you crazy? Yes, crazy, crazy. And we didn't
Yeah.
have a lot of money, but the universe saw us and we made it one step and the next step, and then other people come in and help, and before long, you have something that you can actually come and see us functioning. And so to know that it is totally possible, right? And I am not a rocket scientist by no means. I'm a lowly chef that love food, and because I just have faith and I trust in the ancestors and look at the synchronicity of things that happen, and know that you don't have to have all the answers, but you just have to ask the question. What are you asking the right question?
Mhm.
By asking the right question, the universe is going to surround you with the people that can give you the right answers.
Amazing. All right, we're gonna do 5 more minutes of questions, and then I want to get into the retreat that you have coming up to close out. So we have Copeland Russell ask, how do you like these new roads building in St. Thomas?
My truck doesn't like these new road building in St. Thomas. Oh my God, I'm constantly fixing it because it's been a little bit of a horrific. Um, I'm just sad actually because I feel that we as Jamaicans have just can do so many amazing things. I mean, you look at this little island and what we've produced over the years, and it's because historically, we I always say a lot of the ruling families and brains came here, and I know that I'm probably saying things that people don't like to hear, but we got dropped off here, and so we can do amazing things, and I see it every time I go into various places and different position jobs, and the Jamaicans they're doing some amazing stuff, and I hate to think that we're here on this island and how we handle this road situation. I think it could have been done better.
Mm,
Um, I just feel like we could have done it better. And so people are suffering because of how it is. The road is I see patches of it being done. But the places that we gave our local contractors, I'm not happy with that. And I feel like it does a disservice for us as Jamaicans to say, is this the best that we could do? And I feel it wasn't. So we are hoping that um, well, the Chinese have come and they're doing most of the rest of the work, obviously with some obviously Jamaican staff that is helping do this work. I am very grateful that the road is coming, but with that, there's also a lot of other things that have to, how are we dealing with all of this new impact, how it's going to displace people, all those other things. Because as things grow, there's always that balancing out of things. So we're very thankful for the roads that are coming. It's been way overdue, but I'm also going to be interesting to see how the rest of the place is going to get carved up, and if the people that have been living in St. Thomas, if they're going to get all the support that is necessary to deal with all this new people coming in. Because everybody's calling me, oh, do you have land? All this stuff. Um, what comes with development, and are we able to, what does that mean? And having those kind of conversations around that. So, but yes, my car is feeling it.
thank you for that insight. You're the first person that we spoke to uh, from and in St. Thomas to kind of get an understanding of, because we talk about what's happened with the road network and how it's going to affect and build and progress Jamaica. So It's really good to get a boots on the ground insight on what's happening. Next question from Shayna Love Coaching. Does Nicola offer workshops or webinars? She's so passionate and informative.
Well, I do. I mean, okay, so the source has a lot of different projects. We do a number of different things. The food is one piece of it. So permaculture, we have a we every year we offer a permaculture course, and I would recommend everybody to take a permaculture course. um, Everybody. It's just amazing opportunity of the lens that you look through the world. And even if you have an apartment, you can permaculture your apartment. If you have a large piece of land, a small piece of land, whatever it is, it's about looking at the principles. So we do offer that course. I think in August we'll have our next permaculture course. Currently, we have been working with Heart, which is Heart NTA, which is a training institution in Jamaica, and it's the first time ever that they have offered an organic vegetable farming course. And we just are finishing up 2 months, 17 units of coursework with St. Thomas and Portland folks to get them certified. So that is what we're currently doing. We have classes on Tuesday, and people have to work on their land and their portfolio and all that stuff to kind of help them to be able to, if they want to get organic certification, it would help them do that. But just to get more best practices on their land. So we do those courses. Um, then we just had a mushroom. We do mushroom work here, oyster mushroom, and also just mushroom ID and training people in different levels of mushroom production. So it just depends. I mean, we do solar stuff. We do all kinds of different workshops that, we actually do a communities workshop, which is we're going to probably do in the fall, where if you want to start an intentional community, what are the things that you need to do to learn to look at in terms of starting your intentional communities. So we have that as well. So we've really become a teaching learning institution, which when we came here, we're just doing our thing and playing around and testing out stuff. But literally, that's what it's become. It's been, actually, I don't even know who wrote it on our wall. We're teaching, learning, and we're learning and we're teaching. Anybody has best practices, we gather that best practice and then we share it with folks. So it's very much open source. Like, we're not holding up anything. We're not trying to hide up anything. We're trying to get people the information of how to do things so they can empower themselves and, you know, redesign their own existence. So, so if you have something that you want to share or something you want to teach, we're like, call us. Okay, we can facilitate that, and we let that happen. And that's how we've been doing it, because somebody taught us, and we're here to share with other people what we've learned, and then you
Amazing.
can take it and run with it.
I love it. Okay, just a quick follow-up question on that. Is that a digital course, and do you offer it year round? Shayna is asking.
The which one? The which course? The
I guess you mentioned multiple ones. You mentioned the permaculture one. You mentioned the one where other people come in and share.
No, the permaculture is on site, and that one is a 2-week PDC. You get a permaculture design certificate. The heart course that we're training now, this is our first one that we've done, and we've tried to do a hybrid with it. I'm trying to get them to make it more digital so more people can access it. But that hasn't happened yet. We're trying to get a grant to see if we can digitize some of these, um, and actually do it in Jamaica, because we get a lot of North American coursework that's available, but it's not designed for our environment or
Right.
tropical environment. So they're talking about apple orchards, and we're like, what's that? That's not going to work. We need, how do we do a regenerative orchard system in with the plants that we have, that it makes sense for us here. So I'm trying to get us to be able to have the ability to do those kind of, how do you do a hugelculture bed in, you have all this hillside farming that we have to do. How do we work with that? So that's the kind of stuff I'm trying to see how we can digitize some of that so people, it can spread quicker and wider.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. So to close out, would you be able to tell us about your upcoming retreat, basically this weekend?
What do you say?
I was asking if you could tell us about the upcoming retreat that you have at your property this weekend.
Oh, okay. So you're talking about the oyster. You mean the one on Sunday is the oyster ID, the identification one?
Hold on, let me make
Because
sure that
next
I'm.
Sunday, So next Sunday they
Oh,
we
I'm
have a
sorry. No, I'm sorry. Not next week. Excuse me. I thought it was March, but I can't read. It's May 26th.
okay,
So
so
that one, yeah,
okay that one. So
yeah.
this one is a psilocybin retreat. And when I was first introduced to mushrooms, a lot of Jamaicans are afraid of any mushrooms, right? And so we had a gentleman, Trad Cotter from Mushroom Mountain, come at the time to help us with learning about mushrooms and actually oyster mushrooms because we do have our own um, species on island, and we always looking for alternative food sources. So we started doing work around that, and then we quickly found out that the psilocybin mushrooms, um, or some people say psychedelic mushroom, but psilocybin is actually not illegal in Jamaica, and so more people have been actually doing psilocybin retreats here for a number of years. And so we are also offering, because we started to actually produce the spawn for it, and we were sharing with other people. And so we have the capacity now to be able to do that. And so it's a pretty comprehensive and session, I think sessions. At first, I was like, "What's this mushroom thing?" Until I really did my own research and understood how important it is about rewiring our brain, and people are getting stuck on different things, and different people are having different issues, and actually been witnessing the work. So my sister-in-law, Naomi, who is the person who's really taken this on, she is hosting along with some other source members this retreat. So if you're interested in either microdosing or coming to the retreat, do let us know about that. And also, what's really beautiful about the way that we are offering it is that we do have other priests in the room because some people are just doing it because they're just trying to make money off of it, and they're not really. You can go through a experience, but when you come out the other side, what is there for you? And I think that's one of the things that the beautiful thing about what we do and we offer is that you come out the other side and there actually are shamanic or Yoruba priests or priests that have insight into that world. So as you go through the experience, they're able to help you navigate that space and speak to, if it's an ancestor, is it a spirit guide, is it whatever, because they have been trained to be able to recognize those energies around. So I always like to tell people when you're going through that, not just about taking a larger dose of the psilocybin and having that experience. But what work are you going to do with it after you get the information? So you're going to get information, most people do, but how are you going to assimilate that and do you really understand how that works? And how do you incorporate it into your life? So I think that's where the beautiful thing that we do here is that because we have that capacity to share that with folks. So if anybody's interested, and even if you're not able to make the dates, you can always still call us and have Nomi can organize sessions with you. You don't have to just wait for when that particular event happens. And I did mention this weekend. This weekend we do have a mushroom identification course. Um, Jamaica has not mapped. It's so amazing. Oh my God, this place is so amazing. We have not mapped what we have. We have this whole fungal world, and if you understand soils, is that mycelium that makes and those connections that are so important that make up that web, right? The soil web is part of it, and we haven't done any mapping. We have no idea what we have, and so it's important for us to, when you're farming or even in your environment, to know what you have. And so we have found, as a matter of fact, on the property, over 25 species of stuff that's not even it's not been documented.
Wow.
It's new, right? And so we're actually writing a proposal to be able to do more of that work because a lot of it is medicine. We have turkey tail that's here that is great tinctures. People are talking about reishi, all different kinds of stuff, and we have no idea what we have. And Jamaica is so, and I'll probably end this. Like one of the things when I was in Philadelphia working, people would always come to the restaurant and then they tell me about their amazing experience they had in Jamaica. And there's always some about this place is vibration, the people, the energy of I think energetically where we sit is amazing. And people come back with so many stories of healing. They come to Jamaica and they're sick with this and they come and they drink from coconut water, they get this, whatever, whatever. They go to bath and they come back and they're healed. I mean, literally all these different people had cancer. They come home to Jamaica, then sort themselves out, and they go back. The doctor can't. They don't even know how did you do that, right? So we are so blessed with so much medicine on this island, and how it evolved because we're kind of isolated is amazing. The biodiversity on here is off the chart, and we need to start tapping into the medicines that we have, and again the plant medicine that we can create organically. And I feel like this is going to be our island is going to be one of the places that people are going to definitely have to come for healing, and they do come for healing anyway, but we haven't really marketed that at all, and we need to start looking at that. And for those of you that are not here, um, some of the things that our grandparents used to do. When was the last time we had a washout detox? Right, we call it detox. When was the last time that we, you know, have some of the teas that we normally would just drink? The soursop leaf, the mango leaf, the pear leaf, all of these things that we're here that we should be interacting with. That's going to make us healthier. Um, we need to start looking at that, right? And not every new thing they come and throw at us that we should be that we actually have our own medicine. You go to the Amazon and you do ayahuasca because that's their medicine. We actually have our own medicine on island that we should be utilizing and learning about. So spend some time looking at some of these things. Look at our diets. Look at the way that we're eating. Some things that our grandparents did wasn't so hot, but the castor oil that we never want to do, the honey and the rum and the all those kind of things that we cannot just take for granted and push that is like, oh, that is old people stuff. Some of those things, if you go and look at the science of it now, it makes sense. So again, start interacting with the plant and what we have here, and look at all the amazing medicines that we have here on island.
Amazing. I think that's the perfect way to bring a close to our conversation here. I can't thank you enough, Nicola. How can we as a community support what you're doing?
I think definitely the farmers market, getting the word out that the market's there. We are actually at Hope Gardens, um, every Saturday from 9 o'clock until 3,
Okay.
supporting the farmers, asking those questions. Ask the questions. Is this clean? Um, when we have courses, join us. Um, we're here. We're here. I feel in many ways that we were sent home to do this work,
Mhm.
um, to show you that it's totally doable. Um, that you don't have to have a whole lot of money. You don't have to have a whole lot of people to do this. We started out with just our family and a handful of people. Find your tribe. Listen to your spirit. Your spirit and your guides are telling you. Your ancestors are there. They want us to do more work. Step into our power. Um, these are the things that I can. How can you help by stepping into what you're supposed to be doing? I've been saying that I've been holding the reins for everybody, for so many different people. I want people to come and pick up the work that they came here to do. Right? They know in your soul what you're supposed to be doing. Stop being afraid. Step into it. I don't want to go back to the creator or whatever the next whatever however it is and say I didn't do this because I was afraid of what somebody's going to say about whatever. Step into it. So the most empowering thing is to have faith that what you know, it's maybe, and every course has obstacles on the way, right? There's always, but it gives us muscle memory. It makes us stronger. We actually can navigate anything that they're going to throw at. We can navigate it if we work together and if we step into our power. And so, whatever it is that you came on the planet to do, don't be afraid, step into it. And that's how you could support us. Because by doing that, you're going to be doing the right things for yourself, for your community, and for the island and for the world.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for this. This was everybody saying it in the comments how enlightening and informative this was. I can't thank you enough for your time. We will for sure be continuing to speak and staying in touch. And this was absolutely amazing. I can't thank you enough again, Nicola.
Thank you for doing your work. And thank you for everyone that is on the call, because my mother always says it's a divine appointment, because you could have chose to do something else, but you came and you're listening and you're participating. And so you get the messages because you're showing up. So continue to show up.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you very much, and please enjoy the rest of your Sunday afternoon.
I will. Much
All right,
peace.
take care. Bye.
Bye.
that was beyond my expectations. I have to say that was pretty amazing. Nicola is one of a kind person. She has a one of a kind life and operation, and I feel so blessed to have even spoken with somebody like her and learned about what she's doing, her community, what she's farming. I got an incredible education on organic farming and the importance of it, and the steps that they take to ensure at their farmers market that the produce that they have there is indeed organic. That the fact that they sent it and take it, they get it, they send it to a lab to ensure that it is truly organic. It just goes to show how far they will go in order to ensure that the foods that they have there is organic. That was awesome, awesome. Thank you to the Throughout Media team for getting Nicola on the stream here today. I really enjoyed that. There's so much more I wanted to ask, but of course I got to be respectful of Nicola's time. I just appreciate the 90 minutes that she took to stay on with us. Went over half an hour extra, and she didn't mind. And we have to absolutely get her on PropX 2023. I saw the comments. I hear you. We are going to absolutely try to make that happen 100%. I'm gonna ask. I put it in the comments there. If everybody could just kind of like her Facebook page, just so we can keep up with that, the Source Farm Eco Village, and just so everybody can keep up with what they're doing. And I think it will give you a little bit more insight into what, like, visually that is, and into what they're doing
When you learn to
and
code,
how they're doing it. I think that is pretty, of course, pretty interesting what they're doing, but at least we can see and keep up with the retreat that they have on Sunday, and then they have one again in May, which seems like the big one. We as a team definitely want to make our way there at some point. This was not on the schedule for our year when we were in January looking out like what kind of shoots we were going to do in productions. This wasn't on the schedule, but absolutely we got to figure out a way how we're going to make it out to St. Thomas and capture and bring this to you all. And we will absolutely we're going to try to get her for ThropX 2023 for sure. She has to be there. We'll figure out. Thank you, Sean, and thank you, everybody. Shayna says, can we get a part 2 interview with Nicola? Yeah, I would love to. At some point. I want to, like, one of the main things I want to learn more about, and this is maybe a little bit selfish, is the community aspect. Like, that is so interesting that they are a fully self-sustaining community where everybody has their jobs and responsibilities, and you are beholden to your neighbors and people in your direct community. I think that is so amazing. That blew my mind more than I was letting on during the discussion. Oh, sorry, that went out. During the discussion. Chad, camera, yeah. And I just have so many questions, and just want to have just a much better understanding. And like, that alone is an episode. Like let's just talk about how you started this community, and the fact that we essentially moved here to Jamaica around the same time, the same year. But I know these things, and just kind of, even with, I have a business and it took so long to build it to a certain stage, and then I can only imagine what it took. Hold on one second. What's that? The charger? I put the charger on somewhere on top before I left last night. It should be somewhere there. Maybe it's something in the case. Yeah. So getting to understand that, and even the process that she went, like, in terms of like researching a community, and doing research on creating a community, and then even the process of accepting people in the community. And I would venture to guess, like, at some point, some people have to leave the community because ups and downs. It's been 17 years or whatever it is. So I'm sure she has stories for days on it, and incredibly informative discussion. And like, in the farming aspect of it, I would have loved to got more into like more crops. I saw that people were interested in that, but we couldn't. There was so much to cover. There was so much to cover. We just couldn't spend too much time on on any one particular thing. And I know there was a lot of interest in the comments about different aspects of what we were discussing. I also found it interesting her take on the road in St. Thomas. Just it almost aligns with what we were talking about in St. Elizabeth with the article that I read earlier and during this live stream about it's almost like a sense of bittersweetness, right? That there is this sense of the need for progress in Jamaica and St. Elizabeth in particular, but then at the same time, they want to keep it this secret and they want to keep it this thing that they that is community focused. And like I mean, and literally Nicola's place, the Source Farm, is a community, and people asking her about selling her land and things of that nature, and how do we develop in a way that isn't like in the accustomed human nature way where we kind of just take over and destroy kind of thing. And then like I think that was one of her main messages. And is permaculture thinking. You know, I think it's not, yes, it's a way to do things, but also it seems like it's more of an ideology than anything else. And I love the fact that what she's saying is like, well, we take a lot, but what are we doing to give back to the earth, and what are we doing to give back to the land? And such an important way to think idealistically of what the approach is and our thinking. And if we kind of like bring that in on the base of everything that we're doing, I think we avoid a lot of what I say, a lot of the consequences that we create for ourselves as humans, from a broad general perspective in terms of the environment, and then also when it comes down to the micro of what we ingest into our bodies as well. We kind of do this. We kind of do a lot of these things to ourselves. Um, but with that, please go, visit the website. I had it scrolling. I'll have it scroll a little bit longer as well. For those that are interested in working with Nicola and going there, go to the website. There's more information there. Thesourcefarm.com. I have it scrolling across in a ticker at the bottom of your screen. And again, please like their Facebook page to keep up with what they're doing. And this was awesome. This was really, really great. I thought this was uh, another great, amazing guest. Last Sunday we had a great, amazing guest. We have all amazing guests. I can't say that we don't. We really do have some amazing guests that come on here, and hope you learned a lot. I feel like I learned a lot as well. Daily Observer says I'm already looking forward to part 2 and part 3. Me too. Me too. We're gonna make it happen. We're gonna make it happen. This is awesome. At some point we will do it. Yeah, but we definitely want to support, and those in the Kingston area that if you like she said, I forget the times, but they do the farmers market on Saturday. So if you can go out there and support the farmers market, if I'm out there on a Saturday, I will definitely, in Kingston that is, I will definitely go out there and support, and we'll document it in whatever way that we can. Messed up my screen there. Okay, where should we go next? That's a hard act to follow, I'll tell you that. So, I mean, I actually think I want to save these for our Thursday live stream. No, we have guests on. Oh, no, we can save these for Thursday. We have some guests. We have some really, really awesome guests in healthcare coming on Thursday. Uh, this one article, I want to save this one. We don't have. Yeah, I think I'm going to save this. I think I'm going to save these articles because they are things that we can kind of go. I really want to go deep on. What I will do is like this one in particular. This is kind of something that I've been really, really advocating for, and this came out today. I'm putting it in the comments. You can read on your own. And this was Jamaica and low tech trap. And we will definitely discuss this on Thursday, on the Thursday live stream. But I think we just want to keep this to farming today, and I think we got a lot of food for thought, no pun intended. And I thought this was amazing, and we want to support her in any way that I can, any way that we can. So let me know if you have any questions. I mean, I'm going to start the closeout. I don't think we need to prolong this anymore. I thought this was a great way to end, and I can't thank Nicola enough, and also the team for getting her on. I think we all learned a lot, and I hope that this encourages others like who are thinking of doing something like this. That like Nicola was saying, like everybody told her she was crazy. You're gonna go to Jamaica to start a community, and look at the impact that she's having in her community in St. Thomas, but then also the knowledge and education that she brought to us today, and the eye-opening information that she shared, the eye-opening experiences that she shared with us today. And so I hope that this is inspirational, and that if you are thinking of doing something like she did, it doesn't have to be obviously on that scale, but in your own way, whatever that is. And Jamaica, there's so many, I say this all the time, there's so many different ways to do Jamaica. There's so many different ways to do Negril. And it's up to you on how you want to make it your own. And Nicola found her way with her tribe, with her community, which I think is amazing. And bringing it back to the farming aspect. And if you do live here or you do want to move here, I think it's really a great opportunity to do some of your own organic farming. And like she said, Jamaica is a 12-month-a-year situation where you can farm year round. And this is something that I would say I would encourage everybody that even if you have a balcony, you could do farming. My dad started with a small farm that he has now, just a few years ago, like recently, something that he's been passionate about, and he continues to cultivate, and he continues to do different crops, and is expanding little by little. And we even supply produce here at the hotel, all organic, you betcha, nothing, no chemicals or anything like that. Very, very important to us, very important to our guests that we serve. We serve these foods as well. So just something to kind of keep in mind. And she did it with her family. She did it with her extended family. She did it with her friends. And now she has Nicola, that is, she has a community that she's built. So I found that to be extremely, extremely motivating and inspirational. So I hope you find that as well as we start to close out. With that, I think this could be the end of our Sunday live. I thought this was pretty awesome. We kind of got in a few articles in the first hour, and then we had an amazing guest. So I think we're going to close it out right there. And we have coming up this week, we have, what do we have this week? Thursday, we got some shorts coming out this week. Then we have also we're continuing our health discussion. So we have an optometrist, I think 2 optometrists, I'm not sure, that's coming on Thursday. Well, I'll definitely get it out in the community post and on Instagram. And if you're not following us on Instagram, I just have the ThropX Instagram. So if you go to Instagram at ThropX, you can follow what we're doing on a regular basis. So we always post there. That's probably the most consistent thing. Our up-to-date platform and medium that we put out information about what we have coming up. So Thursday, we're going to continue healthcare, because that seems to be a topic that people are very much interested in. And we have 2 healthcare professionals coming on. And maybe I'll put out a post we'll put out a post and see what people want to learn about healthcare, and as far as optometry goes. And I'll probably put that out tomorrow, as a matter of fact. And if you haven't watched yesterday, I already mentioned this earlier in the live stream. We posted a clip from the section of presentation from ThropX 2022 on the Negril Green Island Planning Authority, and they did an excellent job in getting to understand what the building code is, from an environmental perspective, and the reason why they were formulated to protect Negril specifically, and how precious our ecosystem is here. And they also talk about this building code and the planning authority from a national holistic standpoint as well. So very, 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 very informative discussion. So if you haven't checked that out, we put that out yesterday, and we have another one coming on Saturday, which I won't mention yet because we might switch that up. I'm not sure, but more content to come. More content to come. We're enjoying putting this out so much. So if anything, we're going to close you out right there. Okay, Candice is texting me. Yeah, we have 2 ophthalmologists on Thursday. 2 ophthalmologists on Thursday. So we have that coming out, and that should be a good one. And probably put a poll out asking if there's any questions in particular that you'd like me to ask, and we'll get that out early. I guess we'll leave it there. We'll leave it right there. We'll leave it right there. Thank you all so much for joining this live stream. We'll see you on Thursday at 4 o'clock Jamaica time. And this was a whole lot of fun. Like I said, I learned a lot. Learned a lot. Oh, I'm putting up the wrong things here. Sorry. I learned a lot. See you on Thursday. Everybody have a good rest of your Sunday. I am going to go do the same, and I'll see you on Thursday. Bye-bye.